All right, there we go. Okay, so how's it going, everyone? This is Imperial here. Welcome back to the Team Cola podcast. So today we have a very interesting guest. I did not expect this to happen in any sort of time at all, I will admit. Um, but please welcome Magical Mystic VA to the podcast. So yeah. uh, so yeah, we're trying to get this out to the masses. This is going to be I guess, the podcast of the century, but this is the podcast of the century. No, but in all realisticness to everything, it's just another podcast. We're here chatting just like a normal podcast, and we're gonna probably learn a bit about each other, and probably also the viewers are gonna learn quite a bit about us a little bit. Um, but yeah, more so probably about Mystic here. But yeah, so how have you been in general, Mystic? That's good. That's good.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, I think the first sort of thing I would want to ask is, I know this is probably a very broad question, but I guess to tell the viewers about what type of content and stuff you do, like what type of content do you just do all around?
Well, mainly I'm a voice actor and I'm also a streamer. I'm a VTuber and
Okay,
I'm also a normal streamer sometimes. I have
all
my
right,
alternate form. And
all right,
also I'm trying to do cosplay as well, yeah.
cool.
And other photos, and you've probably seen them, yeah. And
Yeah,
you like them.
yeah, yeah. um, yeah. So if we're referencing other stuff, I'm sure a lot of people could already guess where that territory is going, and it's probably a territory that we can't talk about too much on Twitch in general. But
I forgot
it's
to mention that it was NSFW, yeah.
yeah,
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 I'm
yeah.
completely wholesome. Yeah.
Yeah, Mystic is totally 100% wholesome. There's nothing NSFW here. No, I'm joking. Like it's it's uh it's interesting because like I've been thinking about this podcast episode for a long time because I was sort of thinking to myself, well, I want to learn a little bit, I guess, about how all that sort of stuff kind of works a little bit because this sort of thing is something that I've never really discussed in any sort of way with a lot of people, but it's interesting to me. So, obviously, some of us have dabbled in some kind of NSFW content somewhere. Most of us probably have. But
Mm.
getting the perspective from someone that actually does NSFW would be really interesting to learn about. And it's something that I think a lot of people would want to get at least some kind of interesting insight into. So, yeah. So I'm probably going to hit with one of the more harder questions on this first. But
Oh yeah, and I am wholesome, all right. Yeah.
yeah, very very wholesome. um
In other ways, but you know.
yeah. Yeah, it's like some of you guys who are on Twitter probably do see that sometimes I joke around quite a bit with Mystic on Twitter, as of recent. And
Yes, I tease you.
yes, you tease me quite a bit. So I'm just like, okay, well, I've got to now try and somehow tease back, and it's not very easy. But
You're so easy to tease.
yes, I am. I am very much. I'll admit that. Like, but yeah. So when it comes to, I guess, NSFW content, where did you really get your start in that? Like, what sort of field did you start first, and what made you get into
Well,
it?
there's a lot to it. Originally, I was
Hmm.
a safe for work voice actor, just making content on YouTube. I
Okay,
was like a huge My Little Pony fan in the Brony community when I was back in 2015, and
right.
that's what inspired me to voice act because I'm like, I want to make fan content. I'm so obsessed with this. I want I want to be involved.
Okay,
Yeah, I get very obsessed with stuff I like.
yeah. It's probably the same for me when it comes to getting obsessed with stuff that I like. It's like I will get hooked to something that I like, and I just won't leave it for a long time. It stays.
Yeah.
But yeah. So I guess so like you sort of got your start like being like a fan of like My Little Pony and the Brony
Mhm.
community, just like one of my friends kind of did as well.
Yeah.
And
And they were like really accepting and open-minded and kind of
okay,
changed the way like inspired me to be myself instead of just like trying to fit in and being
yeah,
scared.
yeah, I can relate on a lot of ways to that. It's like I know like because for me one of my favorite game franchises is Sonic. Like I'm a huge fan of the Sonic series, and I've always been someone that liked a lot of the story and lore behind Sonic, even though there's a lot of different takes on it. It's like it can be very story driven at some points with different characters, and then people making a lot of fan projects and a lot of fan animations, and it just expands so far. But it's like a very it can be a very accepting community, but it can also be very much a I guess pretty toxic community at the same time. So
Oh, yeah, I've heard that.
yeah,
But
yeah,
like every community is toxic basically in some ways.
yeah,
Also Dark Werehog is a Sonic fan
yeah.
in the chat.
I could tell by the werehog part. I was like, yep. But yeah, yeah. It's like must like that Sonic Unleashed, man. Like Sonic Unleashed is a pretty good game though, in a lot of ways.
He actually dresses up as Sonic when he streams, I think.
Oh, that's cool. That's epic.
Yeah.
Yeah. So just for you guys to know, like I do have the Twitch alerts off for the stream, but I do have everything open up on the side so I can see if you guys follow or are commenting anything. So if you guys do have any questions down the line, feel free to ask and we'll see what we can answer. So I guess we'll keep going with your story about everything.
Okay. I forgot where I was. Let me think. I my memory, my focus. Um so uh
I think we
okay,
were
so
sort
I
of
was
starting to
talking
get into your
about
voice acting.
yeah, I was talking about how I started auditioning for a lot of random projects and I just
Yeah.
kept like um networking and
Hmm.
with a lot of other people who were aspiring VAs. And then I found Casting Call Club and I started auditioning on there for a lot of stuff and then
Okay.
being part of a lot of projects. I started meeting some bigger people like who had
Hmm.
ran comic dub channels like Kid Misfit and then I got cast as the main female voice actor for that channel for
Nice.
Undertale comic dubs.
That's
And
cool.
yeah, I started also meeting some other people and I started voicing for like bigger creators.
Hmm.
And then I started getting paid work after that because people noticed me. But
Nice.
then well, I wanted to do NSFW for a while because
Okay.
I I saw people doing like dramatic like NSFW readings on YouTube and I
All
wanted to be
right.
part of it because I was interested in it, but I'm
Hmm.
like I live with my family and it's gonna be hard.
Yeah.
And yeah, so okay, I offered like and then I realized that I just tried doing it, I'm like, "Okay, no, I can't, they're probably gonna hear me."
Yeah.
And the annoying thing was they were always home.
Oh
But
yeah.
eventually, like, I moved from my dad's and his girlfriend's to my mom's, and then she went out
Okay.
sometimes. I'm like, "Oh, this is a good opportunity." And well,
Yeah.
what inspired me to like get into it again was I met someone in a Undertale comic dub project, and
Okay.
they went by Miss Moonified, and
Hmm.
I saw their account. I'm like, interesting, and they got like super popular super quickly for doing NSFW voice acting. I'm like,
Oh
I can
wow.
do this.
Yeah. That.
Yeah, well, originally they went by a different name, and their NSFW was a secret, but then they just were like, whatever, and just um, like now their NSFW is their main account, kind of like me, but I still have my other name. Well, where they just like
Right.
totally ditched their other account and went by the NSFW name because most people knew that one.
Right. Yeah. That's interesting. It's like I've seen in like mainly the VTuber community, a lot of people have like their regular main account, then they have an NSFW
Yeah.
account. I sort of for a while was like, okay, should I have an NSFW account just so I can retweet NSFW? But then I'm just like, I don't know, I just don't use it very
Well,
much.
at first, I only had one account, but then I
Yeah.
realized that, well, the reason I actually made another account was because my family were fighting. I'm like, oh no. And
Oh no.
I went like, I moved everything to another account and like hit it under a different name, made my
Yeah.
persona totally different looking so that it was unrecognizable. But
Yeah.
apparently I didn't realize that I was being stalked that much.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I just posted a link in my Discord server, like, okay, here, this is where my NSFW is now. Like, if anyone's interested. I didn't realize someone was in my server and told them. I'm like,
Oh
after
wow.
I'm like, screw it, I don't care anymore.
Yeah, yeah, it's like
But my family were a big problem at the time until I moved.
yeah, it's like I remember when I was like a young teenager, I was like always interested in making YouTube videos and just wanting to be like a gaming YouTuber and stuff. And
Yeah,
I
I started making content when I was like 15, obviously safe for work at the time.
yeah, yeah, like I started YouTube probably at I think 13. So probably very much similar around the same time. And I was just watching a bunch of gaming commentators on YouTube, and I was like, kind of just going, oh, maybe I could do that too. And PewDiePie was one of the biggest inspirations for me at the time to start. And I started, and then I was just like looking at myself, going, this is so cringe. How do people enjoy this? And I ended up just sort of, after a while, kind of near giving up on it. But I then was like, okay, well, maybe I'm too young to do YouTube. Maybe I'll wait for a little bit and just sort of recalibrate what I want to do. And
I mean, for me,
yeah,
I didn't care if it was cringe. I'm like, this is the best I can do right now, so I'm just gonna do it.
yeah, because one thing I started doing when I started YouTube at a young age was I wanted to make all these like little amateur film projects and have this cool writing story ideas and do like these kinds of wacky sort of story adventures. But it was so cringe that I looked back on it. I was like, why did I make that? But then at the same time, I looked at it and I was like, there's actually some decent ideas here. It's just I'm too young for this. And I ended up just starting to write like character stories, and I still have a bunch of character stories I've never used. But it's really interesting because a lot of them take inspiration from anime, but also from just like sort of, I guess, action movies as well. And it's interesting. Like I've always wanted to make like some kind of, I guess, animated project, but I've just never had, I guess, the skills
Mm.
and the time. But
I mean, surprisingly, a lot of people like liked my work when I was beginning, and I got into
right.
like some big stuff really quickly. But like, I didn't get as popular as I did now. Most of the popular stuff I did before was for other big people, and
Hmm.
people didn't really like look at who voiced the characters.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like when I was in high school, I was doing the entertainment subject, so we would do like all the staging production for like actual, I guess, school sort of I guess school like plays and stuff. So we'd have all that set up and the lighting, the sound equipment, and most of the time, all that sort of stuff like no one ever got credited for because everyone would only credit the
Mm,
actors and the people on stage. But the crew in the
yeah.
back are just as important because they've got to set that all up and they've got to get it to like the
Hmm.
way it's needed. So no one would ever look at and go, "Oh, this guy did the staging equipment." So I guess it's kind of the same for who voiced the voice actor almost, or like
Um,
who.
When I
It,
was in high school, I tried going into theater, but I was like
hmm,
so shy that they never gave me big roles. They always gave me like the smallest role. But
hmm.
when they gave me the smallest role, I had like a really good evil laugh, and people with the big roles couldn't do it as well. It was like everyone's favorite part of the show, even though I had this small part.
Oh,
But it was still everyone's favorite part.
yeah. Like
Because
I remember.
well, I used to be really into horror, still really into horror. When I was
Okay.
like an edgy teen, and I liked
All
making
right.
horror voiceovers with like the evil laugh and stuff.
Oh god, I guess like if I heard probably one of your evil laughs, I'd probably just be scared shitless. I'd be probably be going, "Oh god." But it's
Well, I do the Doki Doki voices, and I used to
oh,
do like evil Pinkie, evil Pinkie Pie,
oh right.
Pinkamena, with the like weird fanfics. I was really into that.
Oh man, like I remember when I remember one time I was like setting up some of the stage equipment and they ended up telling us that we had to do all this for a actual live theater production because our school decided to rent out a theater in our local area and we'd be in front of like a crowd of like probably a couple hundred people and I was just like, oh shit, okay, now we've got to set up the stage equipment, then we got to actually move the stage set pieces in like the I guess the blank periods between the next scene and the scene before and we had to get all that done in that particular period of time. Otherwise, shine the light on the stage, it's not done yet, probably. So, we're just
Yeah,
like,
I was in a musical like that that was in an actual
yeah,
theater because the theater in my old city was in the school, so they always used like the actual theater.
right, yeah. We had like a little space, a performing arts space for all that, but they decided, okay, we're gonna actually go to a proper theater and have it as a ticketed event, and people could actually come to it. And we were just going, oh shit, okay, we've now got to do this, and I get put up with doing just the PowerPoint presentation basically on screen, and it was like okay, so I had probably one of the easiest roles, just time these PowerPoint slides when they get called out, okay. And I'm like, well, that's fun. Whereas everyone else is like actually moving stage equipment and doing like sound gear and stuff and lighting gear, and I'm like, oh, okay. Why have I got this role? Okay. But I mean, it was good. I got like a front view of the stage set and everything, so I got to watch the show 3 times. But yeah, so let's see. Question in chat. dbirch01 asks, got any mainstream voice actors you admire? So,
Um, I'm not sure because like I don't really I actually was more inspired by fan and freelance voice actors than actual
Hmm.
voice actors.
Okay.
But some of the people I looked up to, I realized they weren't as great as I thought they were originally. Like,
Yeah.
as great people, they had drama and stuff, and yeah, when I
Oh
got
yeah.
to actually know them,
Yeah.
like
Like,
the people who seem really nice from afar, but then when you actually get to know them, you realize they're kind of different than you thought.
oh yeah. Yeah. Like, yeah, it's
Like,
it
I
it
don't want to call people out, but
yeah, it kind of it just sucks like because it's like when you admire someone at a young age or anything like that and you just find out later
yeah,
on how shitty some people can be, it's like, man, why did I look up to them? What rose tinted goggles was I wearing to admire these people? But yeah.
yeah, there's one I like really admired from YouTube specifically. I think it was because
Hmm,
she was different. Like she was very unique, but I don't
right.
want to say who she is because I don't want to talk badly about
Yeah.
her.
That's fair.
But then like she actually started interacting with me and it got kind of weird. And I
Ah.
realized a lot about her where a lot of people, everyone, basically everyone who interacted with her had weird experiences. Like she
Ah.
just was kind of off. I don't know.
Right. Yeah. It's like I've come across a few occasions where I've interacted with some people and I sort of look and go like, oh, that's what these people have done? What? Like, and then I hear about more about these
Yeah.
people and I just go, oh, because like in most occasions, like I haven't interacted with a lot of, I guess, large people or anything like that, or any people I really closely admire a lot. But it's usually been experiences where I've had pretty positive experiences in the short interactions, but then when I've seen some of the stuff that they've done from other people's perspective, I'm like,
Yeah.
ah, like,
I mean, there's a
yeah,
few people I really look up to, like some of the
hmm.
Vocaloid singers on YouTube, one of which who recently followed me.
Yeah, I think I saw that, and
Yeah,
yeah,
I'm like, what? I literally, I've literally looked up to you since I was like first making content and trying to sing. I literally sing. I use
hmm.
your lyrics when I'm singing covers, the lyrics you made.
Yeah, like I remember there's been a few people like I've sort of, I guess, have sort of interacted with that I never thought I'd interact with, and like one followed me, and because during like my 3 months of lockdown last year, like my sleep schedule was thrown out to crazy, and I sort of started getting into listening to ASMR, which I never thought I would do. Like it was such the weirdest thing. Like I never thought I'd start listening to ASMR, but I did. And one of my like favorite ASMR VTubers actually followed me, and I was like, "Wait, what? Hello? What are you doing here?" And we had like some interactions, and she's like one of the nicest people I've ever met, and I'm like, man, like this is this is awesome. Like getting to actually interact with people that I've looked up to and have
Mhm.
helped me through a lot of things. Like it's
I mean,
it's awesome.
I mean, Iron Mouse followed me, but at the time when she followed me, she was small, and I didn't really think much of it because, like, she was
Yeah.
smaller than me at the time. But then she, like, suddenly blew up.
Yeah. Yeah, it's really interesting. Like I've actually met a lot of like VTubers and friends that have like suddenly just blown up. And I'm like I'm
Yeah, but
it's
when I shouted her out, she actually responded to me.
oh wow.
And like she said that I was awesome too when I called her awesome. Now I'm
Uh
fangirling. She also showed me on stream once, which I wasn't worthy because my content is like my VTubing or content is so much lower quality than hers until I upgraded.
wow. Like
But she reviewed my stream on her stream
oh that's
and started talking about me. I'm like so scary to like tons of people.
oh that's crazy. Like
Yeah.
I think one time, like, I remember one time, I'm not sure, I'm pretty sure you might know this VTuber. I think some people call her like Fei Fei or some call her Fifi. Like, I one time commented, I think, on a post, and this was before she like massively blew up. And I think this was like I had this idea in my head because she like people were talking about these game ideas for like a VTuber sort of game, and I had this idea of like a VTuber trading card game. Like you would just like have a bunch of trading cards with VTubers on them, with different stats and abilities, and she ended up liking my comment, and I'm like, oh, I've noticed, but it's but it's cool. Like,
Oh
yeah,
yeah, and then like after Judy followed me, she tweeted about me being flustered by me adding her to the list. I'm like, oh my god.
oh, that's good.
And she's actually interacting with me. Like she commented on my tweet recently. Like
Oh, that's cool.
she's actually interested in me, and I've looked up to her forever. It's
Yeah.
embarrassing fangirling about her because she might like see me fangirling about her. I'm like,
It's like it's like I tend to like I guess fangirl about a lot of people. Like I sort of go around and I'm just like every time I'm interacting with VTubers and streamers and stuff, I'm just like always going their content is so good. Why how do I get mine to be as good? And I'm always
and
just
then
looking.
again, I just take it as a sorry. I just take it as a compliment when people fangirl over me or fanboy over me. So
Yeah. Yeah, it's just I think it's just the human nature. Like if we see something we
mhm.
like a lot, we're just going to just want more of it and just go like, yep, I want more of this content or I want to like know more about this person or anything like that. And eventually I guess sometimes the paths they cross and meet and it's like, oh, hello, how
Yeah.
did that happen?
It's a weird because people I look up to notice me like so much. It's like they
Hmm.
read my mind because I'm just thinking about I wish I could voice for this person the next day. We're looking for a voice. I'm like I didn't even tell them that I was interested and they just
Yeah,
found me like did they read my mind?
yeah. Like I've had really weird sort of I guess like scenarios where it's like the day before I'm like just thinking about this one particular thing or it's like this particular idea and then suddenly the next day like the person in this idea suddenly messages me about that same idea and I'm just like hello, I didn't even say anything and suddenly it's like oh here they are. Like how does that happen?
Also, multiple times when I'm just like playing a game, the creators of the game notice me. I'm like, oh my gosh, I didn't expect that.
Yeah,
I
that's
mean, with
crazy.
like a Twisted Scarlet, he actually started talking to me and asked me to voice in the next game. Like, I was just playing the game.
It's like I'm just playing the game. What do you want from me?
Like, I got scared because I wasn't expecting it. I'm like, I don't
uh,
know. How do I how do I interact?
oh, it's like I remember when I started this podcast series. Like this is the fourth episode of the series, and I had this idea in mind probably around the time when the second episode had just came out. I was like thinking to myself because I saw a post from you talking about collabs and stuff, and I like stream collabs and stuff, and I was just like, oh, you know what? Maybe I'll just see if like you want any collabs or anything, and then I come in and like a friend request you on Discord, and then suddenly you respond back, and I'm like, wait, she responded back? Hello? And because I never expected it. Like I was thinking I'd be just clogged up somewhere in the back of the queue somewhere. But then suddenly it happens. And I'm like, then I sort of come up with this idea of going, okay, I've got this podcast series. Do I message? Do I not? Do I ask anything? And then suddenly here it is. It's like it just happened. Like
Yeah, I mean, a lot of the time I'm like, I feel like I have to be like super professional towards these popular people, but then I realize they're just normal people.
yeah. Yeah, it's like that's just like one thing I was like super worried about going into this podcast was going, do I be super professional or do I just be super chill? Like, and I kept going every step of the way organizing the podcast, going, okay, I've got to keep this professional somehow because I felt like if I didn't, it would just look bad on me. But I don't know, like I just sort of grew to be a bit more casual over time, and yeah,
I mean, my thing is kind of just being myself and being whatever, not being professional.
yeah,
Just being like doing whatever I want. That's kind of my thing, and not really caring.
yeah. It's just
I
crazy.
mean, I used to be more scared, but I got used to it.
Yeah, it's like I was like mentioning like before the podcast started, like I was saying like how we kind of have, even though we have very different worlds, we actually have a lot more in
Yeah,
common than we realize because we're both by nature very shy people when it comes to interacting, I guess, outside of our friends sort of groups or anything like that, or people we just know. It's like we're just the shy
yeah.
sort of people because
I I found that like people are actually more interested in people who are being themselves than people who are being like trying to be super professional and act a certain way. Like people
yeah,
seem drawn to people who are just like unique.
yeah, and it's like I like this is like sort of I guess how shy of a person I was because like when it came to when I started one of my first jobs, I was working in retail and I sucked at interacting with people. I was like the one that would just sort of stand there and go, "Do I just go up and say hi? Like, what do I do? Like, how do I get people's attention? Do I just say hi and just kind of start saying something? Like, but I eventually did start getting more confident over time interacting with people by actually sort of putting myself in that sort of
You're glitching
environment.
out now. Okay.
Yeah. So like I started like pushing myself into those sort of scenarios where I had to get out and interact with people and eventually I got a lot better at it. And
Mm,
each job I've
yeah.
gone to each time along, I've had to interact more times. So I'm pretty okay
I
interacting.
still have a problem. I'm terrified of interacting with people in real life. Like I'm okay online, but I like can't interact
Yeah.
with people in real life because I like never interact with people. I've never any reason to. I've always been like making my own content. I've never had like
Yeah.
another job like ever.
Yeah. It's
The
interesting.
only uh the only thing close to like another job that wasn't freelance that I've had was when I was like 13 I volunteered at a cat shelter, but that's about it. I kind
Right.
of just went straight into being a voice actor
Yeah. And
online.
yeah, that's really interesting. It's like I've gone along in my career path, like started off in retail, then moved into like being a business trainee, and then moving into an IT trainee. And each time I've had to like always interact with people in some level, and I was always so nervous about doing that at first. And each
Actually
and
tried to get jobs and I think that I didn't get accepted because I was too shy, but I'm glad I
hmm,
didn't get accepted because I didn't actually want a job in the first place. My family were just pushing me even though I was trying to get
right.
into voice acting. They were just not patient with me.
Yeah, it's like I've I've always been pressured to like go into particular fields of jobs, and then I sort of said to my parents, "Look, I want to do this, I want to do this sort of stuff," and then I've always still tried to get a job each time because I know that for me, I feel like it would be very difficult to just like just do Twitch or anything like that. So I'm sort of like I'm currently jobless at the moment because I finished up in my last job last year, but I want to try and I guess still get into some kind of work, but then at the same time try and pursue Twitch and maybe other avenues
Mm.
at some point just to kind of grow that more over time and eventually make it something that could be like a good income. But I keep it
I
as
mean,
I
I
keep it as fun
started
first.
um doing like really well on other things. At first I was doing really good with like voice acting commissions, and then I
Hmm.
started doing well with like NSFW streaming specifically
Hmm.
because
Yeah.
people tip more with it. And then with the other site that I don't know if I can say here, I
Yeah.
started doing super well with that, so I
Right.
am doing really good right now. Like
That's
Hezeni
awesome.
doesn't even work because I support both of us.
Wow. That's
He did work, but I'm like, wait, you only make this much at your job?
yeah, it's
Like,
like okay, do we need that?
like it's also yeah, he makes content with me and it makes more in
that's
a
awesome.
day. Uh okay, we make like a one video and it makes like an entire paycheck. I
Wow.
don't wanna
Like
like
yeah, it's like that's insanely awesome though. It's like for me,
but people are apparently very interested.
people are just very interested and invested, and that's the best part
Yeah.
about it. Like it's like for me, I'd be wishing right now to have that same sort of I guess
Mm.
sort of income stream. But of course,
I
it's
mean,
like I
a
mean,
lot of other people try the same thing and they don't do as well. It's a lot to do with personality and people liking you as well.
yeah, yeah. I find that one thing I've always wanted to try and improve on, I guess, is me being myself in my streams and me just trying to grow as a personality because I know, like, for me, I've always been the type I feel like I've always been the bland type. I'm just too bland of a personality, and I need to find.
Thought that too, but I thought
Yeah.
that too, but apparently people are
Hmm.
interested in me. I think I improved.
Yeah, I
Like
think
I changed over
Yeah, I
time.
think over time, like you've just sort of, I guess, like a lot of people, like, it's like the saying is like you come out of your shell and you sort of be yourself more, and people will just enjoy that. And
And yeah.
yeah, and I
I
guess for
mean, you
me,
you learn how to entertain people when you're like making content.
yeah, it's it's like I find that most of the time, like in the beginning, I used to just always I just used to always stream with my friends all the time on the call. And eventually, after a while, I sort of realized to myself, maybe I need to cut down that a little bit just so I can flesh out my personality more and try and be myself more instead of having my friends as like a trope in my streams to kind of support all the time.
Yeah.
So eventually I started just sort of keeping my friends as like on the occasions where I feel like it would actually be necessary to have them in my streams then that would work out better. And I think
Yeah,
it has.
being a streamer, is definitely mostly personality. That's
Yeah.
what people come for. Um, as well as like most other online content creators, personality is like a main thing.
Yeah. And I think that that was probably one of the biggest mistakes I made when I started on Twitch was just always relying on having my friends be there to bring personality when I should have focused on me being the personality. And I had this sort of mentality where I was just like, okay, maybe maybe if I've got my friends in the game and we're all doing well and we're all interacting, maybe that will eventually bring out my personality, but instead it would be more me drowning out my personality because I'm relying on my friends to have the laughs with. So I feel like I should be the one that's making the laughs instead of them. So yeah. So I
So
sort of
like not holding back because you think you're weird.
yeah,
Just being
like
like whatever.
yeah. So I started trying to be myself more, and I think that's what's always benefited me more. And like,
Mm-hmm.
and on the occasion, like I'll still do like the few occasional collab streams with friends, like once a month or twice a month. But I'll mostly rely on myself and try and find something I'll find interesting to share with viewers, even though it tends to be quite difficult to find something that I'm really interested in to play. But
Personally, I like variety. I'm switching from a bunch of different things, and
yeah,
I'm always
same here.
collabing with different people. Like, I don't like the same thing over and over.
Yeah,
I also, for some reason, I prefer hanging out with like a wide variety of people than just like a few people.
yeah, it's interesting because I think for me, like I started off like when I started streaming on Twitch, I was always just playing Minecraft because I was like, oh yeah, I'll just start playing Minecraft all the time on stream because I was only streaming like once or twice a week. And then
Mhm.
and then eventually I kind of got bored of it and I'm just like, okay, what do I play now? So then I ended up playing Splatoon 2 for a little bit. And eventually I was like, okay, I need to change this. I need to find a better way to do this. So I started like just trying to get a bunch of games that I know I'm going to play them on dedicated days each time I stream so that people know what I'm going to play. And I'm still switching it up all the time as much as I can.
Yeah. I rarely play the same game 2 streams in a row unless I'm like
Yeah.
super invested. I usually
Yeah.
switch it up. But some
Hmm.
people like just keep playing the same game over and over again. Whereas like I switch
Yeah.
between like a ton of different games whatever I feel like. But also, honestly, any game can entertain me because it's the chat
Hmm.
entertaining me when
Yeah.
I'm streaming. So I don't even
Yeah.
care if like the game isn't even that fun. I'm still entertained because people are talking to me.
Yeah.
And
It's
I didn't really know a lot about games before I started streaming because
hmm.
like I only really started playing a lot of games when I started streaming. I only played a few before that.
Right.
But well, I didn't really have access to it because I didn't like have the money to buy games and stuff like
Yeah.
that. But now I have access to it and I kind of just get whatever people recommend me and then I play that.
Yeah.
Or
It's
I look at what other streamers are playing, I'm like, interesting, and I play
yeah.
that.
Yeah. It's like I know like at the moment like I'm just seeing a lot of streamers play either like Lost Ark or Elden Ring and I'm just like, do I want to play that?
Oh,
Probably not. Like it's
I'll probably play Elden Ring, but like not right now, probably a bit later. I mean,
yeah.
it's like it's actually really expensive, so
Yeah. It's like I know that in Australia, like most new games that come out are like $90 or $100, and I'm just like, what? Hello? Like, why are we paying so much for games? Can we have them a little bit cheaper, please? But
most of the games I got like a ton of games when there was a Steam sale. I just
oh
like
yeah,
got a ton of recommendations and got like a ton of different ones. They were all super cheap. I don't
nice.
usually play like I play a lot of older games like that aren't like brand new. I just play whatever I feel like. I don't always
Yeah,
play what everyone else is playing.
yeah. It's like I love collecting like old games and old like retro game systems and stuff because I just love the old games much more than the new games because
Mm.
I'm just like going, "Oh yeah, Nintendo 64 games. Awesome. All right, I'm going to get some PlayStation 2 games and GameCube games and that sort of stuff." And it's because some of my friends like all loved collecting retro games, so they got me into it as a teenager.
Also, my thing is I literally like everything, like every genre. So when people ask what are
Hmm.
you into, I'm like everything. Like
Yeah.
I don't have a preference. There might be like some stuff like that I often like more than others, like story-driven games, and I also like
Yeah.
horror games and stuff like that, really like deep plots and interesting story. That's
Yeah.
something I really like. But I also like all kinds of different games. I don't like playing the same type of game over and over.
Yeah. Like when I was a kid, like I loved playing any game that was like a platformer or a 2D platformer. I would just love playing those sorts of games because I could just always just play those and just get lost in hours of those games.
Yeah.
And eventually I sort of got more into, I guess, a bit more story driven games. And some of my friends introduced me to like Team Fortress 2 and other games. And I was like, huh, I still suck at shooters, but I just play some
Yeah.
shooters.
I'm usually scared to play them because I'm like a lot of people already know what they're doing and I have no idea what
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
doing and I'm scared to start.
Yeah. When I first played Team Fortress 2 with one of my friends in high school, like we would like going on these games, talking on Steam, and I was like just so noob at this game, and everyone was just shooting me all the time. I was always dead, and I'm just going
Yeah.
like getting so frustrated, going why am I losing so much? But then I'm like, damn, they're just pros at this. They've
Yeah,
played this game for years.
that's one of the games I'm scared to try because I haven't played it before, but I'm like, I'm going
Oh
to
yeah,
suck and everyone's gonna be great at this and it's gonna be embarrassing.
yeah.
Like I've been thinking about playing it, but that's what's keeping me back. Same with like stuff like a lot of people play League of Legends. I've never played it and I'm
Oh yeah,
scared to try it.
yeah. Let's see. Mr. Joe says, "Love to see Mystic tackle a racing game." I mean,
Oh, actually, I used to be really into racing games, but mostly Mario Kart.
oh yeah,
I
same
used to be
Mario Kart.
like really great at Mario Kart. I played that all the time. When I was younger, I more played like less games, like more of the same games because those are what games I had at the time. Um,
Oh yeah,
some people some people play the same things over and over again. Variety is just my thing.
yeah.
Um, Whereas I'm also like that with like anime and stuff. I've watched over 100 anime at this
Oh
point.
nice.
Okay, when I was a teen, that's like I just went home and I just watched random
Just
anime
binge
of like
anime.
any genre, like anything.
Oh, I got a
And
funny story. I got a funny story relating to anime. But
mm,
it's so my best friend. I don't know if he's gonna be in chat or not, but I'm pretty sure at one point he'll want to be in chat to hear this because this is about him. So basically, I remember this time I was starting to get into anime a little bit, and I was probably about 16, 17 at the time. And I go to school one day and I just see him just with his earphones in, and I see an anime that looks basically like a hentai, and I'm just like, okay, what? I'm just like looking at his phone, going, "What are you watching? What are you? What is this?" and and he just like gives me the most like straight sort of look, and he's like, "Oh, it's High School DxD," and I'm just like, um, okay, is that a hentai? And he's like, no. I'm like going, surely it's a hentai,
actually,
but it was an ecchi anime, and
yeah, um, that's
uh,
one of the ones I haven't watched, but I've seen scenes from it.
oh
I've
yeah,
seen I do like some ecchi because some of them are like really silly and funny and
oh yeah, same,
like Prison School. That was a great anime.
oh yeah. I remember people talking a lot about High School of the Dead. I watched High School of the Dead, and then
Oh yeah,
yeah,
I went into it thinking it was just a normal horror and I'm like, what is
it's like nope,
this?
yeah. Yeah, like, but my friend, he then says to me, "Ah, you should watch High School DxD," and I'm just thinking, should I? Should I not? And then I watched 3 seasons of it, and and I'm just like watching it, and I'm going, everyone just then I see the memes, everyone going, "Oh, like hi, like just watching for the plot." totally watching for the plot, nothing else. But
There's some anime that like random ecchi that I'm just like, Why am I watching this? Why am I watching the entire show? This is super weird, but I can't stop watching it. Like for
same.
example, To Love Are You. That was one of my first
Oh,
like
I've
earlier
watched that.
animes.
I
I
watched
just
that.
couldn't stop watching it. It was like the most ridiculous thing, but I just couldn't stop. I was so
Same.
invested in this weird show.
Same. Like yeah, like I've watched Two Love. I think some people call it Two Love Ru, and then
Yeah, To
High
Love
School
Are
DX
You.
High School
And
DxD. I've
there's like
watched.
so much of it, like so many seasons.
Oh, then there's
And
also Testament of the Sister New Devil. I've watched. Um, but there's so many animes where I just sort of
I
go,
also
oh.
I watched Heaven's Lost Property. The reason I watched that one was because I saw a clip of this really pervy guy and I was curious.
Oh wow. Like I
Like
haven't
there's
watched that
just
one
like the
yet.
main character is just super pervy and then there's angels. Yeah. It's a
uh
really weird show.
one of my absolute favorite animes, which leans into the ecchi definitely, is Trinity 7. Trinity 7 was one of my favorites. And
Yeah. There's there's so many anime that like I've seen like a lot, but there's still a lot that I haven't seen.
same. And it's like I just like I don't know, like I sort of when I first started watching anime, like the ecchi harem animes were like the ones that just drew me in and
Yeah.
got just got me into it. And then I eventually
Well,
got away from that though, which is weird. Like
well, I was watching a variety, but like for some reason I just kept watching these edgy ones too.
yeah.
Like, okay, I was really into horror anime as well because edgy teen.
Yeah.
And I watched like all of the horror genre, and then I came across the High School of the Dead one, expecting it to be a normal horror one. I'm like,
And
what
then
is
no. Yeah.
like they're not even focusing on the zombies anymore. It's just all this edgy stuff. It's like it starts out with zombies
Oh,
and then it's just like
oh.
we're in the middle of a zombie apocalypse. Let's just do
Let's
some
just have an
edgy
etchy
stuff in
scene
here.
here.
No one cares.
And
Yeah.
and then it's like, okay, I remember this one scene where I think the guy, one of the female characters, the guy like decides to lean his gun on this girl's like booba and just like goes, and I'm just like and shoots and just the recoil and everything. I'm just like, why, why, what the hell? But it was so funny. I was just like,
And
what?
I think to love RU, my favorite character was like the psycho one that was just trying to kill him the whole time.
Oh,
Forget like
was that Golden
um uh
Darkness?
yeah, Golden Darkness
That
was
was
her
my
name.
favorite
I always
character
like
too.
the crazy characters.
That was my favorite
Yeah.
character as well. Like I don't know,
Yeah, I kind
I
of
just enjoyed her character.
I mean, that's actually my fetish, like, you know, like, when
Just
you're fighting, but it's like there's lewd moments, like,
yeah,
rivals, that's something I'm super into.
yeah. Yeah, it's like I've also watched Data Live as well. Like that's one of my favorite animes in the last few
I
years.
haven't. Oh,
Oh.
I've seen this one called Love Tyrant. What made me
Ah.
watch it was because there was a Love Note that was like a parody of Death Note, and there was this one
Oh
girl
wow.
really into yaoi, and she kept using it on guys. It was it was ridiculous, but great.
Oh wow. Yeah,
Oh, and
like
then there was a psycho character.
okay. Like I'm
It
pretty
wasn't
sure.
like full on edgy, but it had edgy moments.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure you'd like Data Life because the character Kurumi in that anime definitely is one of the crazy characters, but also one of the most story driven, and I really enjoyed her character. So
Also,
yeah.
yeah, there's well, Future Diary is like really random and
Hmm.
really popular, but super random.
Right. Yeah, it's like there's
Like I
so
feel like it's a parody because like it's just so over the top.
and Mr. Joe says Kurumi best girl. Hell yeah. Yeah. But
I
yeah.
watched early on I watched a lot of horror because I was really interested. I really liked
Hmm.
like the horror in animation style. I don't really like live action horror that much. I just like the
Yeah.
artistic animation horror and with the interesting characters, like the
Hmm.
unique characters. Um someone's that I like I'm thinking. Actually, the first anime other than like a few Pokemon episodes I watched was Corpse Party.
Oh, right.
Because I got curious.
Huh.
I wish it was full length though, because it was just like a really short OVA.
Yeah.
But I started playing the game and it's like the game is really good. I wish they made a full length anime because the anime was too short, but it
Okay.
was like well, it was good for what it was.
Yeah, like I know one of my friends got into Tokyo Ghoul and tried to show me the anime, and then I don't know, I watched the first 3 or 4 episodes, but I
Okay.
just couldn't get into it. I don't know. I think
It's meh. I prefer Shiki. It's like it's the
okay.
same idea but done way better.
Right.
But way less popular because the first episode is not eye-catching, so a lot of people drop it immediately because
Yeah.
they have a short
Yeah, I was
attention.
okay. I was okay with the first episode most part, but then like when it got to like the whole, I guess like cannibalism sort of aspect of it, I just got really disgusted and freaked out by it. I was just
Yeah,
like
yeah, you
going,
probably wouldn't like some of my taste in shows.
I was just going like, I was like, okay, I like this character, I like the main character, but then I just don't like this aspect of it, and I'm just like going there going, I just felt really uncomfortable with it. I was just going, what? But I
Tokyo
tried.
Ghoul is was one of my first anime, but like
Okay.
at first I really liked it because I hadn't seen a lot of anime, but then I realized it
Hmm.
was kind of overrated because there's better stuff out there, and
Yeah.
it has weird moments where like the second season he just does stuff that doesn't make any sense, or
Yeah.
like there's a lot it's really random at times. Like
Yeah.
the idea I liked, but um there's a Shiki that's the same concept, and it's
Okay.
done way better in my opinion, except it's with vampires, and it's
Right.
just way more like it leaves out all the random bit and just gets straight to the point.
Yeah. There's another anime. It's like I think it's called Rosario plus Vampire or something. Like this anime, like this normal human goes to like this high school for like basically monsters and stuff like that, and the vampire character is like the main female character, and then you have like a succubus character and there's all sorts, and I'm just going, what is this anime? But I enjoyed watching it, and I'd watched both seasons and it was so good.
Yeah, there's a few shows that had like good ideas, but they like completely butchered it.
Yeah.
Like it started off good, and then it's like, what did you do to this show? For example, Sword Art Online.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like it was a good idea, but like they made it super weird. Like I don't
Yeah.
know, there's random etchy in there just randomly.
Yeah, just like
Like
oh.
after
Yeah, just
it's like
randomly
they
like oh.
just gave up after the first few episodes.
Yeah, it's like oh, how do we get this anime to be more appealing? Oh, here's the idea, more etchy, and everyone's like eating it up, going, "Yep, this is good content."
I hate when like a show starts normal and then they just throw edgy in there. It's like,
Yeah.
okay, I don't mind if like the whole thing is edgy because that's the point. But if it was like never edgy to begin with and they just randomly start making it super edgy, it's kind of weird.
Yeah, it's like High School DxD, like in the first 3 seasons to me, it captured me because it had a good amount of ecchi balance with the plot and the characters and development of the characters. Then season 4 comes in and I'm like trying to watch season 4, and they made the art style better, perfect, but then they just sort of start throwing in more etchy just to keep it going. And I'm just like going, okay, the etchy is good, but where's the plot? Where's the plot
Seen
to
like
this anime?
some scenes that were like, Okay, but why is this etchy? This is
Yeah,
totally unfitting."
yeah, yeah. I'm just like going like, okay, you got some good etchy going on here, but like, where's the plot? Where's the actual fighting of the characters? Where's the story? It's all gone. Okay.
Yeah, that's kind of what happened to High School of the Dead. It was like it was supposed to be a
Hmm.
zombie show, but then they just completely stopped caring about the zombies and just cared about the edge. They didn't
Yeah.
even stop the zombie apocalypse.
Yeah.
It just ended
Yeah.
randomly.
Yeah. It just sucks there wasn't like a season 2 to High School of the
Yeah,
Dead because then we
there
could have
probably
seen
was
more.
supposed to be, but it might have not done well enough for
Yeah,
it to
I
be.
heard that with High School of the Dead the creator passed away, so that's why they stopped
Mm.
doing High School of the Dead. But I'm just like, man, someone could have just continued that and just could have tried to keep it going. But
Yeah, they literally just ended it with nothing concluded at all.
yeah.
Same with like Dead Man Wonderland, but that's because they didn't
Hmm.
continue it with the manga, I think.
Yeah, it's like Trinity 7 has had everyone has talked about Trinity 7 having a season 2 for years. And I was like going, I watched the first season, I watched like the first OVA, and I was going, oh yeah, this is good. And then they released a second OVA a couple of years later, and I'm like, okay, does that mean we're gonna get season 2 now? Hello, where's season 2? And I'm just here waiting and going, is it happening? Probably not. It's just
Personally, like when I first watched Sword Art Online, I already heard
yeah,
like all the hate about it. When I saw like the first few episodes, I'm like, okay, this is really good. And then all of a sudden, I'm like, what did they do with this show?
yeah. Yeah. Mr. Joe says the writer of High School of the Dead died, if I remember. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that is the case. Um, which sucks, but I guess like can't really continue a project if you haven't got the original writers and the original creators, I guess. Unless it's like they have enough information and enough story to continue. But
I liked the girl in season 2 of Sword Art Online though.
hmm,
The story sucked, but I liked her. I mean, the show is random, but I liked
yeah.
her. I liked her as a character.
Yeah, it's like I watched a couple of years ago. I watched Darling in the Franks, and I I enjoyed the anime, but like a lot of people had the same sort of feeling with the same feeling that the anime ended very
Seen
abruptly.
or seen on.
Hmm.
Yeah. She's one of my favorite characters despite being from Sword Art Online. I just liked her personality.
Yeah.
Because she was badass. She was like a small girl with this big gun.
Yeah. Like it's like I'm trying to think what other animes have I watched. Well, obviously I've watched Naruto. Obviously I've watched Fairy Tail. Like I've
A lot
enjoyed
of
both
those
of them.
I've only watched some of it because I don't usually like it's hard for me to stay invested in a really long show. Like
Yeah,
I start switching it up after a while.
yeah.
Like
With
I've watched a bit of most of those.
yeah, like with Naruto, I watched basically what everyone told me. Everyone just told me, okay, these episodes are filler. Don't watch these, and then focus on these episodes. And I watched most of it, so I've got enough idea of what's going on with the characters, but
Like
not. But yeah.
Um, I'm not actually a huge fan of shonen, which it annoys me that
Hmm.
shonen is like the most popular genre because it's like my least
Yeah.
favorite genre. It's so plain and basic to me.
Yeah.
That's why it doesn't keep me interested because I like complex plots because I'm like, well, for me, shonen is like it's okay, but it's nothing spectacular.
Yeah, yeah. I find like with I guess with Naruto, like I like some of the aspects where like because like Sasuke is my favorite character from Naruto, so
I haven't watched enough. I watched like just the start of it, and then I went
yeah,
on to other shows.
yeah. Like Sasuke is my favorite character because his story's like really fleshed out and has a lot of I guess meaning to the general plot. So
Actually.
yeah,
The one that caught my attention the most was One Piece more than Naruto,
oh
honestly.
yeah,
I found it
yeah.
more
I haven't watched
interesting.
One Piece yet. Like, I've got
I've
to
only watched like 20 episodes, but I liked what I saw.
okay.
Um, and well, I've been watching My Hero Academia because literally everyone's watching it, but
Yeah.
I haven't watched a lot of it. It's decent, but I don't think it's like the best anime ever. It's still pretty plain,
Yeah,
but
like I enjoyed Fairy Tail for some reason. Like Fairy Tail really caught me in, and it's one that I actually basically binged watched right to the end. Except I didn't watch Fairy Tail Zero, which was the spin-off before
Mhm.
the last season. But everything else I watched, and I don't know why it caught my interest, but it just did. So I kept watching. But I very rarely
Mostly
do that with a shonen anime.
actually I was interested in My Hero Academia in the first
Hmm.
few seasons, but then it got long and drawn out.
Yeah,
But I'm
yeah.
still watching it just slowly. I'm watching it because everyone else is watching it and like people want voices for the characters, so I'm watching it because I voice the characters.
Yeah, it just adds that extra motivation to watch. Just like, okay, I need to know how to
Actually,
voice this character.
a lot of the times when like people want me to voice a character and then I'm like, "Oh, well, I haven't played this game or watched this show, so I go and play it or watch it."
Yeah, yeah, that's interesting. But yeah. So we've talked about anime. We've got a bit of insight into, I guess, how you got started and stuff. Um, I
Also,
guess
I'm eating like candy right now.
all
Sorry
good,
if you can hear me crunching. I'm
all
eating
good.
like mini chocolate eggs.
Nice. But yeah. Let's see. I guess what type of music do you generally like? Because I'm someone that likes rock music
Okay.
mostly.
This is very different, but I don't like a specific genre.
Hmm.
I like Vocaloid. That's not really a genre. That's a lot of different things.
Yeah, yeah, it's
Yeah, I
interesting.
don't like a specific genre of music. Like sometimes I like rock stuff, sometimes I like piano
Yeah.
stuff, and I can't even define a lot of the music I like as a specific
Hmm.
genre. Sometimes I like electronic, just depends. I'm more for
Yeah.
the deep lyrics and stuff. And yeah, I like Vocaloid in English because I can
Hmm.
actually hear the lyrics.
Yeah.
And I
It's
like the people who do covers like
oh
Judy
yeah.
Phonic, who followed me recently. She's my one of my biggest inspirations. I used to
Hmm.
think I hated music until I found this type of music.
Right.
Because
Yeah.
I used to think that like every music I heard was just like basic and the lyrics weren't meaningful at all and there was like no emotion. I really hate
Hmm.
like the overuse of auto-tune because I like
Oh
when
yeah.
songs are like when the singer's like really into it and but
Hmm.
like when I hear auto-tune all I can hear is like there's no emotion whatsoever.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, I don't mind a little bit because sometimes like Folklore cover singers use it just to get
Yeah.
that sound, but like I hate the overuse of it.
Yeah. It's interesting because like I know like mostly the rock genre, I guess, from what I've seen, doesn't have a lot of auto tune to it. But when it gets to like
But
when it gets to pop music, it's like definitely some kind of auto tune a lot.
this is this is a weird thing where like what got me into music originally when I thought I hated
Hmm.
music, I'm like, I hate all the music I hear, like I don't find it interesting at all. And when I got into the My Little Pony fandom and I realized people were
Yeah.
making fan music, I'm like, oh my gosh, this is cool.
Yeah. It's like
Like, I like fan music. I like music based on things I like.
hmm.
I so, I don't just like Vocaloid, I like, fan music, like, based on stuff I
Oh
like the
yeah.
YouTube fan music, like, Living Tombstone stuff too,
Hmm.
and, um, one of the first ones that I liked was, like, Rainbow Factory based on a Dark Pony fanfic,
Oh right, yeah.
and, also, some of the people who created these songs followed me recently as well, but on my other account.
Yeah.
Yeah, everyone I looked up to when I started creating content is suddenly following.
Yeah, it's like I know like for me with music cuz like my music tastes sort of go back to my childhood mainly.
Yeah,
And it's like I know that my parents like always either my dad would listen to like I guess 90s or 80s rock music. My mum would always like listen to more the pop side of stuff or like the
yeah.
mainstream sort of
Um,
stuff. And
My mom did. My parents more or less both listened to old music mostly. Actually, my
yeah.
mom got into anime.
That's
My brother got my mom into anime. I got my
that's
brother
so
into anime
interesting.
because I got him to watch it, and then he got obsessed and he watched way more anime than me.
That's awesome. Like I think
I get really obsessed with certain things like um well actually even before I liked My Little Pony I had some obsessions like I used to be obsessed. One of my first obsessions when I was like in grade 1 was Webkins. If you
okay.
know that game, that online game where you get the stuffed animals and you get to play with them online. And then my
I
other obsessions,
think so.
yeah,
Yeah.
my next obsessions were like Toontown, another online
Okay.
game. I was really into online games when I was younger.
Hmm.
And then I got really into Warrior Cats. I realized most of the things I liked are based around anthro animals or
Yeah.
animals in general that act like humans.
Yeah, it's that's interesting because I think for me like when I was a kid like I wasn't really into online games much, but I do remember vaguely playing Club Penguin when it was a thing, but
Yeah.
I never really played many
Mo-
online games.
Most of the things I really got obsessed with were like furry, I guess, animal
Yeah.
based.
Yeah.
Because like even My Little Pony, and then I got obsessed with Undertale, which also has furries, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah,
But,
it's
then I also got obsessed with anime, which was a little bit different, and Doki Doki Literature Club for a bit when that first came out.
oh yeah. Like I think what sums up like my I guess childhood into my teenage years like with online stuff. I think like aside from Club Penguin, I didn't really do a lot of online stuff in my early childhood and in my primary elementary
Strangely,
days.
I didn't like Club Penguin when I was younger. I found it like boring and plain. I really
Yeah.
liked Toontown. You like defeated the cogs and you
Hmm.
you defeated the cogs and did tasks and stuff like that. I
Yeah.
liked that game. Oh, I also was into Wizard 101, which is a similar idea.
Okay. I think I played a lot of Flash games when I was a kid mainly. Like now that I'm thinking about it. I remember playing like a lot of the Flash games, like the Sonic Flash
Yeah.
games and other sort of Flash games. And
Mm.
then getting into my teenage years, that's when I really started getting more into the online stuff because like a lot of people know in general, Australian internet is just garbage. Australian internet is
Mhm.
like is way behind a lot of countries in the world. So
Mm.
like for me to upload a YouTube video back in probably 2014, I was probably having to I had like probably a 300 meg file and 480p, and then trying to upload this to YouTube took like 3 hours. And I'm just like going, why does this take so long? How do these creators do it? What's going on? But my internet was just so garbage back in those times.
Like, I was so much more self-conscious at first, and then I
Hmm.
got more open to being myself because people accepted me online. And
Yeah.
but at first I was so scared of people finding out that I liked My Little Pony. I was terrified. I avoided hanging out with my friends because I was scared. I
Yeah.
was scared they'd find out.
Yeah. It's like I was like scared every time because my family would probably think I'm really weird uploading content and stuff. And they still think I'm weird when it comes
Yeah,
to
I
that.
tried
But
it's in secret at first.
yeah.
Um, but okay, I got kind of annoyed because they weren't supportive of me, but then when my brother wanted to make a channel, they were like, "Oh, that's a great idea." I'm like, "I've literally
Well,
had this channel in secret, and they were not supportive of all of me." I'm like, "This isn't fair." And then, like, okay, they were less supportive of me than him.
wow. Like it's like
Like, okay, I admitted it because I'm like, I have a YouTube channel, but then
yeah.
they didn't give me the positivity that they gave him. It was
Yeah.
different for some reason.
Yeah, it's weird because it's like when I've told like my family that like I'm open telling them that I do content, but it's like they're just not super supportive of it. But then when
I
it
don't know.
comes when it comes to like I've told them like, oh, some people make a living off this sort of stuff. They're just like, no, that's not possible. Like, and I'm just like,
I always felt like they supported my brothers more than me, but I think because they were like they liked what they were interested in, but they didn't like
hmm,
what I was interested in. Like my brother
yeah.
wanted to be a magic creator, but eventually he got into anime as well, and now he wants to be a voice actor like me.
It's like the tables have turned. Yeah, but nah, like it's like I don't know. It's like when I when I started doing like Twitch and other stuff, like I just wanted to be more open and more myself, and I've just sort of grown to do that. And even if people don't like it, I'm just like, doesn't matter to me if you don't like it. Like you don't have to like everything I do. Like I'm
Yeah.
sure I'm sure
Um,
there's like lots of people that like certain aspects of content that people do, but other aspects maybe not. It's like it's just the way
I
things are.
think yeah, it was definitely the My Little Pony in the community that opened me up because everyone was like so accepting in the community and like
Hmm.
being themselves and not caring that people thought they were weird for liking a kids show. And like
Yeah.
it just made me start being myself. Being like,
Yeah.
oh whatever, I like this, who cares?
Yeah, it's like I know like with the Sonic fan base at least, like a lot of people at first were kind of scared to admit they're Sonic fans because there's
Yeah.
like the stereotypes of the fan base and then there's the whole like oh Sonic's bad because he's got bad games and it's like hold on, there's still lots of good games here. You just don't know about those good games because everyone knows about the bad games. It's like it's
Probably I just feel like a lot of people who did know me in the past probably think I'm weird if they know about me now, but I don't
yeah.
really interact with me. They could know what I do, but I just think it's weird.
Yeah.
I feel like that's what they think about it because except for but more people like my content than not.
Yeah. It's like there's always gonna be many different things I think that a lot of us like that other people are just gonna like really question and be weird about. But it's just like I think it's what makes people who they are. Like
Yeah.
you just like what
Okay.
you want to like.
Well, the thing is, when I was younger, I think people thought I had like problems because I didn't act differently. I mean, I
Hmm.
probably do, but like not major problems.
Yeah. Like
And like my family actually criticized me for it, and then like they didn't like that I was accepting it, it seemed. Like I'm like
hmm.
being emotional is actually a good thing. People didn't seem to like that, like because it was out of what they thought was normal. I was thinking outside the box. A lot of people
Yeah.
were just like, no. When I started like expressing what I actually thought, like my side, like logics, they didn't like it because it was
Yeah.
different than what they thought, what they were used to.
Yeah, it's like I find that I guess compared to a lot of my friends, I'm much more emotionless than them, but I feel like a lot of that comes down to I guess my own childhood, but it's like I'm trying to be a lot more open about my feelings and emotions and stuff than I
Yeah,
was. But yeah.
I'm naturally super emotional because it runs in the family, but
Yeah.
well, on my mom's side at least, but my dad doesn't really show a lot of emotion.
Hmm.
And I got criticized a lot for being emotional when I was younger, so I kind of like got kind of scared to express emotions and it's hard to get out of that.
Hmm.
Like
It
I actually got bullied for being emotional and crying at school when I was in elementary school.
yeah, like
And,
in
telling me people telling me to stop when I have, like, so little control over it. But
hmm,
strangely, the less I worry about it, the more control I have over it. Like,
yeah. Like
I don't feel like I get as emotional anymore because I'm not, like, trying to hold it in.
yeah, it's like I find that with myself, like in when I was in my like primary slash elementary school days, I was always I was always bullied because people just didn't like me in general. Like either people thought I was annoying or people thought that I was like too skinny. And they all just kept bullying me all the time, giving me nicknames, and because the cool
I
guy
feel
in the
like
class was always the one that wanted to beat me up, sort of thing. So,
this this is parents' fault too that kids act this way. I feel like I don't like
hmm.
how a lot of parents act. They teach their kids bad things without even thinking. Like whenever I
Oh
see
yeah,
parents like talking to their kids, teaching them stereotypes and stuff, I see it all the time and I'm like, no.
yeah. It's like some parents like always I guess taught their kids like oh like if someone messes with you, you gotta mess with them back. It's like no, like for me, I was always told like oh you gotta punch back. I'm like no, I'm not gonna punch someone back. What's the point? Like I'm just gonna walk away from the situation because like I'm just gonna not give them my attention or time of day if they're gonna be like that. Like,
Think my family actually thought I was dumb because I didn't think the same way as them because like they
hmm,
treated me that way until I think they realized after I left that the things my opinions actually were logical. They were just different and they realized I
yeah,
actually knew what I was talking about and wasn't just dumb. I think they
yeah,
actually thought I was dumb though, that I like had problems and like didn't think properly because I was different than them.
yeah. Like, but this same bully kept bullying me for like years on end, and I kept putting up with him. And then eventually, my best friend who I met and still know today as my best friend, he came in and he actually decided to get kind of physical with this guy, and he came in and he basically gave the biggest threat of to his life and said, "Hey, like if you ever mess with my friends, I'm gonna mess with you." And he just stopped after that. He switched off and actually left the school I was at after that.
Hey, this was well in grade one. There were like boys who didn't like me because I was too emotional because
Yeah,
they probably got taught that being emotional is bad. My parents taught me
yeah,
this all the time, like told me to stop getting upset over dumb things and whatever. It's not a good thing to teach people,
yeah,
and because emotions are healthy, releasing them makes you think better after. Like
yeah. Like I remember probably like I remember like a lot of people always saying to me, like a lot of guys always saying, "Oh, you've got to be tough. You've got to be this. You've got to be that." And I'm like,
oh.
"No, I don't think so." Like, I think,
I don't like guys like that, and I think they don't like that I don't like them because they're like, "This is I'm how guys are supposed to be. You're supposed to like me." And I'm like, "Oh."
yeah, it's like
Yeah, it's the guys like that, like they complain about girls not liking them because they're like, "I'm the greatest. I'm how guys are supposed to be," but then no one likes them and they have too big of an ego and they
yeah,
think it's everyone else's fault.
yeah. It's like I remember in high school, like some like my best friend and one of my other friends, they were like the more like emotionless guys. They would just be the guys who were like always so-called alphas and all this sort of stuff. And I'm just being myself. And most of the time, like my female friends would always come to me for advice because they knew that I was more willing to talk and more willing to actually listen to them about their issues than the other guys. The other guys would just not give it any attention to the day, really. So so they all came to me for advice and they now see me as someone who is more willing to
Hey,
be
Sunny, I'm
talked
in
with.
call.
What if I'm gonna sign language to you asking if you're in call so people don't
How
know?
did I know that that was what you were trying to say?
Fair point.
Let's see. Darkway Hog says, "Be sensitive and nerdy is perfect. Being a manly man
Yeah,
is overrated." Yeah, being a
actually,
manly man is
m-
overrated.
most most of my friends are guys, honestly, because for some reason I find it easier to hang out with guys, but they're all the more emotional and nerdy type. I don't hang out with the dumb guys. Like, uh,
Yeah,
if some guy like acts tough, it's like I totally lose interest in them. I mean, like they act overly tough and masculine. I prefer like guys who aren't like that.
Yeah. Also, everyone's spamming Hey Zen in the chat.
Mhm.
Nice. But yeah, so yeah, it's like, I mean, like, I think there's like times where guys have to show, I guess, some kind of confidence and in a situation if they're trying to look out for everyone. But you don't need to be the tough guy to do that. You just gotta be someone who
Also,
is
this
like,
is something that like drives me crazy. People like treating me like I'm weak because I'm female. Like it drives me crazy and I want to destroy them every time someone talks to me
oh
like
yeah,
that. Like
yeah, it's
oh, you think you can push me around? I'll push you around. I'll put you
exactly.
in your place. Yeah, it's triggering to me.
Yeah, yeah. It's like in times where like people need comfort, it's like, and someone needs to take control of a situation, then yeah, but you don't be a tough guy to do that. You just
Like,
gotta,
I'm not a pushover. Like, I'm sensitive, but I stand up for myself.
yeah, yeah. It's
I
like,
used to not though. In the past, I was worse because I think I was taught to like be scared to say no or whatever.
yeah,
I
it's like
learned to be
there's
more
there's no
confident.
reason to be scared to say no to something. It's like I've
Okay,
been
it's
in,
'cause actually this is a thing that my family did, whereas like I
hmm,
wasn't allowed to not want to do anything. Like if my friends came over, I wasn't allowed to say no. They're like, you gotta hang out with them. It's good for you. And then I think it
oh
backfired because I started never hanging out with my friends. I'm like, you know what? I'm tired of this. I'm not gonna listen anymore.
yeah, it's like I know sometimes, like a lot of the times when I was in high school, like my parents, like I asked if I could have a friend over. A lot of my parents would be like, no, and I'm just like, come on, like I just want to hang out with people, and they're like, no, and
Mine were
then
the opposite. Mine like didn't like me doing my own thing. Like I just wanted to like be at home and like work on my voice acting stuff. Like, no, you gotta go outside. It's good for you. Like,
it's like, what's outside?
yeah, they hated electronics too. Like when I was younger,
Oh
I don't
yeah,
know how I survived with this, but they tried to limit me to 1 hour a day. But
oh
then
man,
I stopped being limited once I had my own electronics. But I didn't get my own electronics till like a long time because they'd never get me stuff. Like I
yeah,
didn't have my own phone till like I was like, okay, like this is really embarrassing having to borrow everyone else's phone when I'm in theater class and stuff like that.
yeah, yeah.
When everyone else has one.
Oh, I remember some of my friends in primary school had phones, and this they were like 11 or 12, and they had phones, and I was just there going like, um, I want a phone because they have a phone, and then they're like, no. So then I get to high school, and then they finally accept the fact that I have to have a phone, but they get me the most crappiest phone, and
I
I'm
I I didn't get a phone till I was 18 because well,
damn.
whenever I asked, they're like, "No, you don't need a phone."
It's like, man, it's like I would die if I didn't have a phone till 18. I would just be going like, how, why, like, what do I
At
do?
least well, I had a laptop, but I didn't get a laptop till I was like 16 or 17. So
Damn.
when I started voice acting, I was like trying to use my parents' computer and it sounded terrible like in the bits of time they were away. And
Yeah.
they also only let me use the computer for like a certain amount of time, so it was annoying, but I always tried to get around that by sneaking up really early in the morning and playing it when they're asleep so they don't know.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
But then, okay, this was also a problem. I fought with my brothers for the computer, like actually
Oh
fought.
wow. It's like I'm having the computer today, not you.
Yeah, okay. I feel bad for this, but like, one time I really wanted to use the computer and I actually shoved my brother out of the seat and used it. Yeah,
Wow.
okay. I wasn't perfect, okay?
Yeah. I was always just
I actually fought with my brothers a lot, over a lot of things. We didn't like each other.
yeah, I was lucky I was the only child. But
I was
it's
the oldest.
I was the only child,
Um,
and and I was just like going like, there's no friends in my street. I can't, hardly anyone to hang out with, so like I would always just hang out with friends at school because that's the only place I
it
could
was
hang
it
out.
was mostly the youngest sibling that we didn't get along with. We still don't get along with him, so I guess
Yeah.
nothing really changed. We're like me and my middle brother, we're like the nerdy type, and he's just like the normie type.
Oh, I remember in high
And
school.
okay, he has a girlfriend that's older, like 2 years older than him, and he always acts like he's like the most mature one when he's the youngest, or he did when I was back with them. Like, uh, okay, like
uh,
I didn't like his girlfriend because the way she acted towards
right.
me, like she acted like she was like so mature even though she was younger than me.
Wow. It's like I've come across many different characters of people, and it's like,
Actually, okay. So this one time, she freaked out at me because I said I didn't like her in my server and she was stalking me. So yeah, there's a
oh,
long story behind it.
oh God.
She's
Uh,
a little bit I don't know. I
Oh
don't know
man.
why she was in my server. Like, why is
It's
my life why does she think like my life is I don't know what to say, like is her business. Like I hardly
yeah.
even knew her. I was hardly
Oh,
around her, but she was like obsessed with stalking me online.
oh, it's like some people like in
Actually,
my family.
I
It just
never I never told my family this because like I'm scared because I just like they like her and if I say like
oh God.
like she was the person stalking me online and she said these things to me, it might
Oh
end up being
wow.
really awkward.
Yeah.
Okay, so it was weird, whereas, like, I thought this was my ex the whole time, and then, like, it was revealed,
Huh.
like, way later she was stalking me. So this is a weird
Oh
story.
God.
But I think my ex was also stalking me because no one likes to mind their own business because I'm making content and everyone's, like, wants to be, like everyone doesn't like that. I don't know.
Yeah.
It might actually be jealousy, to be honest.
Yeah, it's like
Because I know both of them they had things they wanted to do, but didn't get as noticed as me.
huh. Yeah, it's like there's like a lot of people in my family that always just have this sort of nosy sort of business sort of look to them, and I'm just like, why do you want to know everything about my life or other people's in my family's
I
life? It's
don't
like
care
I
about
I don't
like
it's like I don't care about them.
why live your own life.
Yeah, it's like you
Focus
don't
on
need to look
your
at
own life.
mine or anyone else's. It's like, but it's like, oh, it's like
Yeah,
it's
it probably means that they're like usually people who are like this aren't happy with their own life, so they're obsessed with other people's lives.
oh yeah,
I
it's
know
like
that like some of them actually admitted it, like my family admitted it was because of stuff.
yeah, it's like I know my like it's like
It was because of their own emotions.
my dad's the type that always likes to just know what's going on with everyone. I'm just like going, just mind your own business and just do what you need to do. And it's like I remember one time he followed my Instagram and I was just like,
Yeah.
hello, I'm just going like, no, don't go on my
Okay,
Instagram.
I feel like my parents purposely embarrassed me because like they like kept saying stuff that was clearly bothering me. Like I was trying to avoid it and they just kept saying it over and over. Like they
Yeah.
wanted to embarrass me. And they played my voiceovers in front of me, which is super
Oh
embarrassing to
God.
me.
Oh
Well, the safer work ones, but when like my mom found out the NSFW, she wouldn't stop talking about it and like
oh
describing
God.
it. And like I was just avoiding her.
Yeah, I'd just be if I was there, I'd be just very awkwardly just sitting there going, okay.
Also, for some reason, they didn't think I was like this. Like, the person they thought I was a lie, and they thought I was that way.
Yeah.
When I actually showed what I was actually they're like, "Wait, this isn't you. This isn't how we raised you." Yeah, you raised me to not act myself. I
Yeah, it's like I remember
had to like actually like convince them that I was doing it by my own will and I was actually interested in this stuff and it wasn't other people convincing me to be this way.
Oh wow. Like I remember when I did a podcast with a guy I knew from high school because he was starting up a podcast series, and I joined an episode, and then because it was like on Facebook and everywhere, like my dad ended up getting wind of it, and he ended up deciding to listen to it, and I'm just here going, okay, yeah, what about it? Yeah, like I'm just, and I kept so reserved in that podcast though because I was just like, there's gonna be a chance that my dad's gonna find this or someone's gonna find this, so I just kept
Mhm.
reserved and just didn't say much. But
Yeah, a lot of the time I probably actually said more than I probably should on stream because I kind of say whatever's on my mind, but I'm trying to
yeah,
avoid saying a lot of stuff that makes my family look bad, but I kind of talk about it a lot because it's on my mind
yeah,
and I feel bad about it.
it's like I remember I
But
showed
they were kind of like terrible to me, but
it's like I
like
remember
I could say details, but like I'm trying to not say the worst because
yeah,
it would make them look bad. I don't want to ruin them.
yeah, it's like I remember I showed my dad one time. I showed my dad a VTuber, and like it was an Australian VTuber. I showed him Vividly Vivi, and he he was just here going, so people do this sort of stuff, and I'm like, yeah. And I was actually thinking about getting into VTubing myself, but I decided not to later down the line. But I was telling him like I'm actually thinking about
Yeah.
doing this stuff too, and he's just like, they're just like he's just not sure what he's looking at. He has no idea. Like he's just so confused, and I'm just like, okay, I probably
Yeah,
shouldn't show him anymore.
I couldn't decide because like I really like the idea of VTubing, but I also like showing my face, so
Yeah, yeah. There's a
so
few
I just did.
VTubers that do that now.
Yeah, cause like I like both. I don't just want to do one.
Yeah, yeah. Like I know there's at least a couple of VTubers I've seen that have that
Also,
sort of
like
same
I'm
split.
I'm really into like I have other hobbies like cosplaying. That's been something I've been into for a while, but never like had the funds originally before I became a content creator.
Hmm.
Like and made actual money from content
Yeah.
originally.
Hmm.
Well, I wanted to be a cosplayer since I was 18 and living with my family. I got a few costumes, but
Okay.
not a lot because I couldn't afford. And I went to cons occasionally. I started doing that before I left. Actually, I was bringing up the courage to do this because, like, before that, I was starting to more be myself and doing things I wanted to, but,
Hmm.
like, because in the past, I would be terrified to actually admit. So I want to go to an anime con. I
Okay.
actually, the last year that I lived with them, I brought up the courage to admit that I wanted to go to a pony con because I really wanted to go. I was so scared to admit
Yeah.
this. But I'm like, I really want to go. I'll do it. But they were
Yeah.
actually well, no, my mom was fine with it. She's just like she actually defended me from my dad. She's like,
Hmm.
that's what she likes. And but my dad was like super critical and calling the fandom weird. It made me feel like really
Oh
uncomfortable
God.
about it.
Yeah. Like I
He
went
made me
to
feel terrified the night before and super anxious because of like the things he said.
oh no. Like
And I was talking to Zed. I was trying to calm down by talking to Zen about it. Like,
yeah.
okay, when I first met Zen online, I talked to him about most of this stuff to calm down and whatever. I talk to a lot of
Hmm.
people online to feel better. I vent a lot, like
Yeah.
because people in real life never really listen to me.
Yeah. It's like I know that
I tried to reach out to my family. They're like, you can tell me anything, but then they don't actually listen to me. Like,
yeah.
liars. Like, I've tried talking to them about like things that bother me, and they just brush me off.
Yeah.
So I just started talking to people online because they actually help.
Yeah, like I know that when I've had different issues in with some of my friend groups and stuff like that, sometimes I'll go to some of my friends to talk about it. But then sometimes like because me and my mum actually have a pretty decent I guess relationship. So I sort of go to my mum sometimes and go, okay, what would you do in this situation? I have no idea what to do. And sometimes it's a good conversation. Sometimes I'm like, okay, maybe I
Like,
shouldn't tell my mum some of these
if my
things.
family if my family like actually took the chance to listen to me more, we would
Yeah.
have probably solved a lot of disagreements because they'd realize I
Mm.
actually know what I'm talking about instead of just brushing me off and
Yeah.
not listening.
Yeah. It's like it's just I think yeah, there's like usually like cuz me and my dad our sort of relationship I think is very I guess
Like,
a
cause
hard one.
I know different things than them. They don't know everything. I know stuff
Yeah.
they don't know.
Yeah, it's the same with my parents to me. It's like I've told them so much, but like there's other things I have not told them, and I probably won't tell them unless I've someday feel confident to tell them about some things. But it's just
I
like
mean,
yeah.
at this point, they probably know like everything, but they actually change the way they act. But I still, okay, for some reason, I get like this feeling that people like are judging me like on the inside, even when they're not saying anything.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like I think it's interesting because it's like
I don't want people to be like, okay, to feel like disappointed in me or whatever because I'm happy this way. So it bothers me that they like feel bad for me for being happy.
yeah. Yeah, it's like I think there's like a lot of misconceptions when you first meet people. It's like you get these misconceptions where it's like, oh, are they happy doing this type of content or stuff? Or are they not happy? Or it's like
Yeah.
why do they do this and why do they do that? And it's like I just look at people and it's like yeah, sometimes I have my own I guess sort of reserved judgments, but then it's like when you actually talk to people you sort of go okay, they're happy doing this content, they're having the best life that they want to have, or maybe they might not, like once you get to know them maybe they're not happy doing some things, but it's like it's just life.
Um, people like different things. I can't
Yeah.
understand why people are happy about stuff that I don't like, but I get that that's just what they like.
Yeah, it's like for me when I guess first sort of started looking at like NSFW content and stuff, I was very unsure about it. I was just going, okay, I don't get some of this stuff. But then like as I sort of learned more about it over time, I was like, okay, I get why people like this now. Like they have these particular likes to these particular things and that's
Mhm.
just what they like. And sometimes I might
It's
like that stuff too.
it's really weird to me because like people told like acted like no one would accept me like this, but literally everyone just accepted me. Like it was a lie. Like
Yeah,
my
it's
what I thought like that people wouldn't like me like myself wasn't true at all.
yeah, I actually had
People
this
like me more being myself. Like I
yeah,
got way more popular being myself.
yeah, and it's like I had this misconception for a long time where a lot of people would just bash on anyone that does NSFW. Like I had this
Yeah.
misconception where a lot of people would just hate people doing NSFW because at
Yeah,
least you
I mean,
see in the mainstream media, like you see a lot of people just bash people for NSFW, and it's like, hold on,
I think people are actually accepting me more. People who might have bashed in the past because they actually knew me personally, like they knew a bit about my personality.
yeah,
Or a lot of people knew me before I was even NSFW, and then they just like they saw like, okay, she's doing NSFW. I'm gonna accept it because I like her.
yeah, and it's like I know some people that are doing NSFW content now, and it's like I'm just like, oh, they're having a good time. They're not having too much difficulty. They're having the best life. They're having a good time doing it. And if you're doing it,
I
props to
I
you.
knew I knew that the NSFW was going to be more accepted.
Yeah. I
My family
always had the
were
thought that I
stuck in
wouldn't.
the past.
Yeah. It's like
Well, I thought people would criticize me, but like
mm,
I'm like, if they do, I can change their mind by being a decent person, and they can't
yeah.
really criticize me if I'm a good person, because
Yeah.
that would just be being a jerk.
Yeah. It's like I've known people that do this sort of stuff, and at first I always had the same question to a lot of them. I was like, do you get judged for this stuff? Do people like hate you for it, or what? But then now that I've seen that people are very open and accepting of it, I'm like, hey, this is brilliant, because a lot of people,
Hardly anyone hates on me.
yeah.
Also, I kind of get really mad at people who hate on me. Like I make them look like idiots.
Yeah, I
Like
think
I
that's
defend myself
I think
because I have more people who support me than they do. Like any of the people
yeah,
who would hate on me like are just random nobodies usually because well,
yeah.
anyone who's popular wouldn't hate on me because it would make them look like a jerk and they would look bad.
Yeah, I think that in general, like once you start growing as a person and like as a creator, and you start getting more people behind you, there's always
Yeah.
bound to be more haters that come along. But it's like you can always just it's like just the hate that's there. It's like who cares? Like who cares about them? They're just gonna hate anyway, and
Yeah.
they're just gonna be there to annoy you, but it's like your supporters are gonna be there to back you every step of the way, and yeah.
But no like actual content creator. Like not many are gonna actually just hate for like no reason or over stupid things because it would make them look
Yeah. It's
like they would end up getting backlash and then I'd probably get publicity.
there is the saying that any publicity is good publicity, but
I
I
actually
mean,
I actually had a dream that someone made like a really dumb hate video on me, and I was excited about this because I'm like, they literally have nothing that makes me look bad. It just like all it is to me is advertisement because all their points are just stupid.
yeah, yeah, I could imagine one day someone probably doing that, and I'm just gonna be there, and I'm just gonna be like, this is funny. This is funny content to eat
Yeah,
up.
I'll just like I'll tweet about it like, hey guys, watch this video. I
That'll be
usually
funny.
just laugh about it now or like make
Yeah,
fun of people for
I
making
would.
fun of me.
Yeah, if I grew and got hated on, I'm just gonna be there just laughing at them and being like, what are you trying to do here? Like, what are you trying to do? Just
At first, like, I got bothered by this random troll, but then I just realized this troll is an idiot. They're a random anonymous person who doesn't even know how to use grammar. Like, they're like a nobody. Why did they think their opinion matters to me? Like, they have
yeah,
nothing better to do in life than randomly send hate messages anonymously. I mean,
yeah,
they should be the one disappointed in their own life.
yeah. It's it's like so many people just spend time on the internet just literally just typing random hate comments, and I'm just like,
Like,
I'm
I don't get how they can, like, think this makes them cool because everyone's just like, "What an idiot. How did
yeah.
they"
It's like, well, they're gonna go. Their friends are gonna go. Oh, I'm gonna type this hate comment. It's gonna be so good. And they're gonna cry and all this stuff. It's like, no, and then they get no attention, and they're just like, what?
or
Why?
they just have they're just friends with a bunch of other people with no life who think
Yeah,
it's cool. Just other
yeah,
people like them.
yeah. It's like, am I gonna get knocked down by a hate comment? No. Like, I don't care.
Like, the funniest thing to me is, like, person who keeps trolling me, they literally use no grammar, and it's like shows how smart they are. Like, if you're going to make hate comments with no grammar, you're going to look stupid. You're just going to look
Yeah.
like an idiot.
Yeah, you might as well just be as bad as like the bots and
Yeah.
stuff that just come along and just say random stuff. Like it's just as bad. I'd just be like, okay, be gone, hater, be gone, bot.
Yeah. I wish I was more confident in real life like I am online. I wish it
Yeah,
was the same, but I never have opportunities to go out. I want to go to cons, but I'll be like super shy because I still like I suck at interacting because I never get out, and I've
yeah.
always been that way.
Let's see.
I mean, it's kind of like
Who's
just
Dark Whale?
that's just kind of how I am, that I'm like naturally anxious.
Hmm. Yeah. So Dark
I mean,
Whale.
because it runs in my family. That's why. That's why my family are super protective, to be honest.
Hmm. So Dark Warehawk says my biggest gripe is when people get big, but they get a big head and treat others unjustly. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, I was mentioning this earlier about like some people who are like I look up to them, and then when I actually like get to interacting with them, I realize they weren't as great as I thought they were.
yeah. It's like some of them just get this sort of mentality of like they've grown big, so they don't interact with like any of their friends that are much smaller than them. But I don't know.
But
I
like
don't get it.
one of my favorite things about being a content creator is getting to meet like tons of people and interacting with people. That's like one of my favorite things about it.
Yeah, it's like to me, it's like it doesn't matter what size you are.
Okay,
Like,
this is it's also ironic because my family used to say I was antisocial, but it wasn't true at all. I was just shy. So
yeah.
they got the complete wrong idea of me. They thought I wasn't interested in interacting with people, but it wasn't true at all. It was just I was interested in certain things. I love interacting with people, but like
Hmm.
certain types of people who have the same interests as me.
Yeah.
They always wanted me to do said I was supposed to do stuff I wasn't interested in, like
Oh yeah.
like I said I wanted to go out and do stuff, like go to cons and stuff, and they're just like something other than cons.
Yeah.
Like they just didn't want me to do what I
Oh,
wanted to do.
it's
Like
like
they were trying to like say that I didn't like interacting with people when it wasn't true. I just didn't like doing what they liked to do.
yeah, it's like I remember one time my dad said
Yeah,
something to
this
me.
is what they'd always say. They're like they make a statement about me. I'm like, no. And like they always made statements about me that weren't true at all. And I'm like,
Yeah.
no, actually I want to go out.
Yeah, it's
Like
like my dad said something to me once where I was like talking about my friends and my dad was like, "Are you going to get some normal friends?" And I'm just like thinking to myself like, "What do you mean by normal friends? What's the whole what's the concept of normal friends?" Like everyone's like
you
unique and everyone has different ideas of what they want to do to hang out and all that sort of stuff.
Okay, this is weird because he actually my dad thought I was weird for not liking getting into trouble. Like, because he was
What?
one of the types of guys who was like getting into trouble back in school and going to parties and stuff. He criticized me for not liking parties and for not liking alcohol and stuff like that, for being like a
uh
good person.
yeah,
And
it's the
he was
same for
that way.
me.
He
It's the
was one of
same.
the types of guys who was like, I'm tough.
Like,
Hopefully, no, I
oh,
don't care if he sees.
it's like for me, it's like I don't drink alcohol. Like I'll go to parties, like some parties, but I won't go there to drink. I just go there to socialize with friends, and it's like a lot of them are like drinking, and my dad's like, "Oh, you need to go have a drink and be a man, go and have a drink." And I'm just like, I don't care. I don't care
Yeah,
about drinking.
it's it's weird because my dad liked like the toxic type of personality. Like he was judging people for being good people. Like he used to criticize guys for wearing makeup and like stuff like that and like being emotional. He was literally just criticizing people who were actually good people.
Yeah. Let's see. Favorite phrase: being normal is vastly overrated. Yes, it is.
There's no such thing as normal. Everyone's just pretend. Okay, this is another thing. I feel like anyone who thinks they're normal isn't being themselves. They're just trying to be like everyone else because the average what most people act like is just most people just trying to be like everyone else and not actually being themselves. That's what I think.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like I just be myself when I go to a party. I'm like if I'm sitting in the corner chatting with people, like a couple of people, yeah, that's what I'll do. If I want to get out on the dance floor or anything like that, yeah, I'll do it. But it's
I
like
think my dad was also like just in a really bad mood. I mean, he even admitted it.
yeah. It's it's like most of the time I
Like
like
a lot of people
hosting.
like that are just like unhappy with themselves or like unhappy with how their own life is going.
Yeah, it's like I like the idea of like hosting my own parties because I'm more in control of what I want to do. So I'm just like, okay, if people want to come to it, they'll come to it. If they don't, they don't. So like I like to do this idea of having like a party with like the edgy emo
Um,
music and stuff.
yeah.
And yeah.
Um, I don't usually like I liked birthday parties when I was younger because we actually did stuff. We didn't just
Yeah.
sit around. But I mean, these days, I guess I like talking, but it depends who I'm talking to.
Yeah. Like
I
I
used to
just
like hate just talking, but I think it was more because like everyone that was around me like had nothing that I was interested in talking about.
yeah. Like I like I sort of never really used to like talking in long conversations, but then like after a while I was like, talking in long conversations is just a good way to chat and get to know people and
Yeah.
see what people like and what they don't. And
I do
it's
like talking, like there's a misconception. A lot of people had misconceptions about what was actually like in the past.
yeah, like it's like I know when I sort of text you on Discord and stuff, it's like your responses are definitely a lot shorter than mine. So at first I had this misconception where I was just like, does is Mystic just not interested? But I'm just like, oh, I'm sure she's interested.
Like I literally have 20 unread messages right now. Like
Yeah, that's the
I
next thought
actually
I
leave
had.
them and I respond quickly. I sometimes have conversations.
Yeah, I then sort of thought to myself, wait, you probably got a ton of messages. You're just trying to get through everything as quick as you can. So I was like, oh yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's one of those misconceptions like at first I have with people where I'm just like, oh wait, are they just not interested? Why are they replying so short? But then I'm like, oh wait, they're probably busy. They probably got other things they're trying to do, and yeah,
So
so
sometimes when I comment a certain way, people assume something. I'm like, wait, that's not what I meant at all.
yeah.
Like they assume things from like these few little words. They make like huge assumptions. I'm like, no, I didn't mean that at all. Like
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of that one time where someone like totally misinterpreted what I said. I'm like, they assumed it was a bad thing, and
Oh,
it's like, oh, I've never used that in a bad way.
yeah. Yeah. It's like I've sort of I get to the point where it's like if I'm having a good conversation with someone and they're like getting like in a really deep conversation, I'm just like, okay, this is good. This is a good conversation. And then I'm just like, okay, how do I wrap this conversation up without sounding rude? Because it's like,
Yeah, sometimes I do have conversations sometimes, but I really shouldn't talk so much because I never get work done.
yeah.
Like
Yeah.
I sometimes get really into a conversation and get nothing done, so it's hard. That's also a reason why I avoid joining voice call a lot because it never ends.
Yeah, it's just like just get stuck in the conversation forever and it's
Yeah.
like it's just a good conversation. But yeah, like so what else can we talk about? We've talked about I guess a lot of different things, but I don't know what else have we really not touched on that could be interesting to talk about. Like
Like, well, every time I like just randomly leave a call, like
yeah.
I always feel like a jerk for leaving.
Yeah, it's it's like I've like had Discord calls and then suddenly like I'll just and it's like if there's like a lot of people in the call, I feel really weird trying to like take over and be like, okay, I'm leaving now, everyone. So I just pop out of the call most of the time, and then they're just like, oh,
Also,
why did he leave?
sometimes I never get to talk because I'm trying not to interrupt people and it's really hard. And then but if I wait for them to finish talking, we're not even on the same topic I was trying to talk about anymore.
Yeah, it's let's see. So Paz says if the conversations get deep, then I'll be like, that's my cue to leave or not pull the pin on that grenade and
And
keep my mouth shut.
sometimes my conversations get too deep because I think too much.
Yeah, it's like I remember I remember the other day when you were messaging me like and you were telling me this story and stuff. And I was at my friend's place actually when you were telling me all that stuff in your story.
Yeah, I don't know.
And
I felt bad.
nah, it was fine. Like I was there and I was going like just kind of going, okay,
Felt
like
it was awkward
yeah, and I'm
because I kind of just say whatever's on my mind.
yeah, and like I have no
And it's also
issue with
kind of
anything like
it's
that.
kind of how I get to know people, like just
Yeah.
telling them my life story.
Yeah.
That's how I bond with people.
Yeah, like I'll do a little bit of that too. Um, it's like I sometimes I probably get this from my dad a bit, but it's like every time like he meets people, he always wants to talk about himself, and he's always just like
Okay,
telling
then
everyone
there's the
everything
people
about him.
who like never want to talk about themselves, and I'm like, talk about yourself. Like,
Yeah.
because they feel bad for talking about themselves, but then we like have no conversation. Someone's gonna have to
Uh,
say something.
yeah, and then every time I bring my friends over, my dad just always wants to chat to them, and I'm just here like just going, okay, Dad, this is my friend. I'm trying to hang out with him, and and you just come in and you start having a conversation about yourself to my friend, and I'm just here going, okay, I'll let him talk, but I'm just here going like, but okay, I'm just here. What do I do now? Uh, it's
My
like,
dad, um, at dinner. I hated this because they're like my family didn't like us using electronics like at dinner because it was like
oh
it's
yeah,
talk time, but the conversations were always horrible.
oh god,
Or
yeah,
like just like okay, well when I went to a restaurant, I'm like my dad is just like criticizing me and I'm like I'm just like not wanting to talk about this and he just keeps
yeah,
like bringing up stuff I need to do and I'm just like trying to avoid the
oh
subject.
god, yeah. It's yeah, it's like my family.
Okay, he basically he was acting like, well, you can't do stuff on yourself by yourself because you don't have life skills, but we're not gonna let you do anything to get life skills. Basically.
Yeah,
Yeah. They were criticizing me for not knowing how to do stuff, but didn't let me learn how to do
oh
anything.
god, yeah. Uh, it's like
And
I
well, they were like, you're not gonna know how to do anything once you leave. And like, well, I learned. That's how you learn. You do stuff.
yeah, you live and learn. It's like
Yeah.
I my family never really were the type to sit at the dinner
Yeah,
table
they were
because
they were trying to like tell me that not to leave because I think it was just an excuse really. They didn't want me to leave because they're like, you don't have life skills, you won't know what to do. I'm like, I'll figure it out.
yeah,
Like, if I don't ever try, I'm never gonna figure it
yeah,
out.
exactly. It's like my family never were the type to sit at the dinner table, so we never really had conversations around dinner or anything. Because it's like my dad would either
Mm.
be always at work doing shift work, and my mum would always eat dinner later.
Also,
So,
or he goes into like politics that I don't agree with.
oh
Like he
god,
just
yeah,
starts saying opinions that I totally don't agree with, but like
oh
I'm
yeah,
just trying not to say anything because I know he always like just he goes on rants if I ever say anything against him.
yeah, yeah. It's like at first it's like, yeah, like my family, I guess my family is all very similar on their politics, but I'm just here like going, okay, I've grown to be quite different now. I'm not the
Oh,
same. Like,
I also I didn't want to say much because I didn't know enough to make like to talk about the topic, so I don't
yeah,
want to like say stuff I don't know about. Like,
yeah. I find like just talking politics like it's one of the worst things to talk about with friends. I learned that
like
the hard
I
way.
I have opinions, but I don't think like I'm knowledgeable enough to really know exactly what I'm talking about. Like I have opinions on
Yeah.
what I think is right, but not like a specific political view because I don't know. Like
Yeah,
I don't
I'm
know
just
like
like
the
I just sort of go with what I think is the best thing, but I always try and keep to myself because I know it's the topic that a lot of people hate. And it's like, okay, I keep to myself. I respect people and what they believe in, but I'm just like, okay, I'm just keeping to myself.
I like totally disagreed with my family, like totally opposite opinions.
Oh
But
yeah.
I don't even know if my mom really agreed with my dad. Like I think she kind of just went with whatever
Yeah.
he said, honestly.
Probably just there going, okay, I better shut up on this. I
Yeah,
better.
because she wasn't really critical of me. She just kind of went with stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like I just sort of sit and just go, okay, all right, whatever
Yeah.
politics, whatever. Just let me just
And
talk about something else.
I mean, if like I talk to them again now, I'd probably actually say my opinions now because I'm less of a pushover. I'd probably like if they
Yeah,
say something to me, I'd probably actually stand up for myself now because it's been a while and I've been thinking about it.
yeah, yeah. I think I tend to do I tend to do the same. It's like I used to just kind of go, oh yeah, okay, cool, but then after a while, I was like, okay, I'm gonna start actually just saying more of what I believe. But
Actually, I think they actually sort of understand me now, but I think it's because I went on a rant one time through text and suddenly the way they acted towards me just suddenly changed.
oh wow, it's yeah,
I think it's because I was really closed off at the spot, and I mean, in the past, but I
yeah,
wasn't really allowed to say anything because they kind of just brushed me off. But when it was through text, I could just like fully explain everything.
yeah. It's like I know like a lot of my friends tend to tell me now it's like because I tend to just kind of let things kind of just go and run course and then like my friends are saying no you should stand up for yourself more, say what you want, and I'm like okay, like but won't people find that, like I sometimes go isn't that going to cause more drama, and they're like no, say what you want. I'm like
Also,
okay,
knowing that a lot of people agree with me makes me more confident.
yeah it's like when I've got people that
Like
agree
in
with
the
me.
past, I was kind of like, I didn't really like fit in at all. Like hardly anyone talked to me. It was kind of more
Hmm.
invisible.
Yeah, I was the same. Like a lot of people just didn't care about me at all and just kind of just didn't even
I was
acknowledge
kind
me.
of like, I actually still don't really have IRL friends because I don't know how to make them. Everyone I know is online.
Yeah.
So the people I would talk to online, I would just they would be people I meet at cons or something. I don't know
Yeah.
anyone in real life.
Yeah. It's
Also because I moved exactly like right before COVID. Like I moved to the other side of the country. I know no one.
yeah. Yeah. It's
But I didn't really have friends before I moved either because I didn't really know how to interact with people.
yeah.
Only online friends. I well, I met Zen online and then it's easier for me if I talk to someone online first. It's easier for me to get to
Yeah.
know people and be more comfortable with them. Well, obviously, when I first actually met Zen in person, I was still super nervous. I thought I was gonna be comfortable, but no, not at all.
Yeah. It's like
I was super shy and awkward because it's different.
yeah. Most of my online
But
friends,
got over it pretty quickly. It was just like the first like a little bit, and then I got used to it.
yeah, most of my friends online I've never met in real life. So it's like because like they're all around different countries in the world. So I'm just like, okay, well, I would love to meet some of my online friends one day, like
I mean, I
somewhere.
plan to. Zen is really the only online person I've actually met in real life, or well, actually, I think I ran into a few people at cons, but they weren't really friends. They were just people who knew who I was.
Yeah. It's like it's like I'm planning to go to like uh one of my first overseas sort of TwitchCon events I'm actually planning to go to. So it's going to be really interesting meeting some of my like friends from online. So I'm just going to be
It's
overseas in
also
another part of the world and just be like, "Oh, hello. Hi." Like, okay. But yeah.
but it's also awkward because I'm not just meeting friends. I'm too well known.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like you just come across a bunch of people that just go, "Oh, I know that person that does that content," and I'm just like, "Cool." But
Yeah, it
yeah,
was funny. Like, I haven't gone to an actual IRL con for a while. The next one I'm going to is in May, I think. Yeah,
okay.
but well, so the last con I went to was before I was really popular when I just made
Hmm.
the Mystic account, but people still recognized me a little bit. And someone
Wow.
came up to me and they're like, this was funny. They were like really awkward. They're like, I follow you. They were super shy and awkward, right? But they went up to me and tried to talk to me like, but
Uh.
we were both super shy and awkward. It was like, oh, hi, I follow you on Twitter. I'm like, oh. That's basically the conversation. I don't remember
Yeah.
exactly what I said. I was too nervous to even remember how I responded.
Yeah. I
I
remember
was trying to interact, but terrible real life social skills.
yeah, I remember I think someone I talked to like online. I don't know what I was doing. It might have been a collab of some sort. And I was just like I was like there, oh yeah, I know what you do. Like I follow you on Twitter and they're like and they're like, "Wait, you follow my Twitter?" And I'm like, "Yeah." And they're like "Oh. Oh, okay." Like I know what it was now.
Funny, I
Oh.
wonder if I've actually went past people before who know who I am but don't say anything.
Yeah, there's probably been a few of those somewhere. And
Yeah.
it's like I remember the story now. So I was following a startup VTuber who hadn't debuted yet, and they went on to Omegle, and they said, "Oh, I'm gonna be on Omegle if you guys want to chat." And I end up like just waiting on Omegle, just there going, "Okay, I want to chat to this person," and I immediately end up finding them, and we get into a conversation that, and then I said how I followed their Twitter and everything, and they're like that's when they were like, "Wait, you follow my Twitter? What? Hello?" And I'm like, "Yeah." And then we got into this like long conversation, and it became a YouTube video, which was so funny.
It's a school reunion would be so funny now because I'm not anything like I was.
Oh god, yeah. Oh man, I think the same for me. Like,
Wait, you're that weird girl who never talked? Yeah, I'm Mystic now. I'm an NSFW content creator.
yeah, they'll just be like, "Oh, hello," and then, and
It's
then
actually, I'm like one of the last people who would have been expected to be like this, honestly.
yeah, it's like if I had a school reunion, I feel like it would be so weird because it'd be just a wide range of different people. Like one person doing BMX riding, one guy doing like Twitch streaming, another
Yeah,
guy
it
doing
would be
like who knows what.
it would be interesting though. Like maybe I'd get back in contact with people or meet people actually become. There were a lot of people I wish I could have been friends with, but was too shy.
Yeah, you might find some there that might be like, "Oh, I do some of that stuff too," and it's like, "Oh, okay."
That would be best friends immediately.
Yeah, it'd be like, okay, so when are we collabing? It's like,
Something inside of me wants people who used to know me to like find me online and talk to me.
yeah, it'd just be so interesting, like the different types
If
of
the
people.
reaction is positive, I like it. If it's negative, I don't.
If it's negative, I'd be like, oh, okay, why are you here then? But yeah,
Yeah, I don't really care as much anymore. Like,
yeah,
it doesn't bother me. Yeah, I kind of just laugh at people who are negative because
yeah,
I'm more successful than them.
yeah. It's like you just sort of you just keep going and just go with it, and it's like
Mhm.
okay, whatever. But yeah, it's it's interesting the different characters you see online. It's like just
I like
some
destroying them though.
yeah, it's always good to
Fun to
just
destroy them.
burn them. Just just burn them and be like, "Okay, you're gone now." But
Sometimes
yeah.
I've destroyed people too much, and I'm like, oops.
I
Yeah, maybe
remember
I went a little bit too far.
yeah, I remember one time I was 17 at the time and
It's too
was I 17?
tempting, like, to just, like, retweet, like, "Hey, look at this loser."
Yeah. Yeah. It's it's like I think I was either 17 or 18 at the time and like I sort of I liked writing rap lyrics and I still do, but it's like I ended up basically wanting to just roast this person and we're friends now, but like I wanted to roast this person and I was just because I just wanted to roast them for whatever reason. And I made this whole diss track just to roast them on YouTube. I uploaded it. And then they blocked me afterwards. and and I was just like what? You're too scared to come back and take a shot at me? Like are you really like not wanting to come back at me? And then eventually they unblocked me and we became friends again, I guess. And yeah, it's just funny as like it's like they could have came back at me, but they didn't. Like, was the roast too hard?
It's funny, like, whenever someone, like, says, like, says something, like, mean to me on Twitter, I'm like, I could just, like, quote tweet this and have all my fans attack them.
Yeah, yeah. It's like I still remember when you when you bloody made that quote. Was it a quote tweet or something? Oh yeah, because I was say so, saying I'm say so, and then you just come back, and I'm just here going,
Yeah,
oh hello, okay,
it
and
was a joke, though.
yeah, it was so funny. I'm just there going
I
like,
tease
uh, I, I was just
I make
laughing.
tease tweets with people that I interact with all the time.
Yeah, I was just here
And
going,
I know
oh.
that it actually is kind of just a shout out, so it's actually good for
Yeah, I was just here like, oh, hello, okay, I did not expect that. And it's like just exposing me in 4K, and I'm just like here going, oh, okay, well, I'm cancelled
I
now.
I like I like making tweets about people because they're
uh,
like, "Wait, what?" Like, not
yeah,
not like a mean tweets, like, just teasing tweets.
yeah, yeah. I was just there going, oh no, okay, but then I was also like laughing at it at the same time. But yeah, I was just going, oh crap, okay. Do I have to now try and be more say so, or should I just be more open and just kind of just go, okay, here I am. I'll be more lewd on Twitter. uh it's funny.
For some reason, like, there's a small part of me that's just worried that, like, someone might actually take my jokes seriously and be mad at like, someone
uh
totally misses that it's supposed to be a
Mr. Joe says skilled teaser mystic son. Yeah, yeah. Very much so. Very much a skilled teaser. I'm just here like going, oh no. But let's see. Paz says, if people want to expose me, just go for it. Yeah, I mean, if if it's all in fun, yeah. Or if you're exposing someone that's just an idiot, yeah, why not?
I think people wanted to cancel me a lot of times, but it didn't work.
Yeah, it's like just trials and tribulations keep pushing through, and it's like, yeah, not canceling me today. Like,
And like it usually backfired on them because everyone's like, "This is stupid."
yeah, it's like people have exposed me before, and it's like they go, "Oh, you're a shrimp for VTubers," and I'm like, "Yeah, so what?
So
So what?" Like,
you're a supportive person.
yeah, yeah, I'll keep being a supportive person, and it's like,
Yeah, I consider the word I'm not supposed to say on Twitch a compliment
yeah,
because it means you support.
yeah. I don't even know if we can actually say the word. Like, I've said it on stream a few times, but it's like,
I don't think that they actually care. Like they're not gonna like ban you for saying it
yeah,
once.
I think it's like you can say it, but as long as you're not using it in a so-called negative context to people,
Yeah, maybe.
it's weird.
I
I
know
don't
I've
know.
accidentally said it before because I say it casually all the time
Yeah, people,
because I joke like
I say it quite a
constantly.
bit now, but yeah,
I
it's like
even call myself one.
yeah, I've called myself on many times too, and it's like, and even some of my friends go, "Oh, he's a shrimp," and I'm like, "Yeah, so what?"
Oh
Like,
yeah, it's funny when people try to insult you for something you're proud of, and it's like,
yeah,
yeah,
I'm like, "So
I
what?"
know.
I know, like, I know, I shrimp for VTubers all the time. I shrimp for people that I enjoy hanging out with all the time. It's like, hey, if
I
you're a
don't
cool
know. They
person to me,
sound
yeah.
like the negative ones.
Let's see. Paz says, I had people wanted to
Don't
expose.
be supportive of others.
Paz says, I had people wanted to expose me, um, but it backfired because they ended up exposing themselves because I didn't say or do anything. Yeah, yeah. It's
So
like,
I've seen like there was this drama channel who kept like just purposely looking for like as much drama as they could find to make content out, and they
oh
started like
god,
just looking for like they couldn't find anything huge, so they started like they're like exposing people over stupid stuff, and then
oh
they
god,
ended up being exposed because they they said the N word on stream because they got mad at someone for like
oh god.
defending themselves against their stupid exposing.
Let's
Like
see.
they kind of just killed their channel because they ended up when you chase drama, you become the drama.
Yeah. Mr. Joe says, I just personally don't care, or I don't care if I'm proved wrong. I own up to it. Yeah, if if you've done something wrong, obviously, it's like own up to it. Like, but if you haven't, it's like, hey, it's like
I hate
I
the
don't care.
types of people who like literally don't understand when they've done wrong. They like just don't get it at all. It sucks because you can't like make them like no matter how much you try to be like try to tell them why they're wrong, they just don't get it. And
Yeah,
it's so annoying.
yeah. Let's see.
Like,
Oh
there's
God.
some people who are like really terrible for this, whereas like they annoy like every single person they talk to, and they still think it's everyone else's fault. So
Yeah. Yeah, it's like I find it funny when like there's all these dramas, and the one that's caused the drama just decides to like just try and blame everyone else and go, "Oh yeah, it's not my problem. I didn't do anything wrong. These people did something wrong." It's like just if it's like
actually,
it looks terrible doing that. Like,
I'm kind of scared to like mention drama. Like whenever I have, I've often like just deleted the tweet after because I'm like, okay, too much attention now.
yeah, yeah, it's like I've seen some of the drama that comes up in my feed from the VTuber community, and some of it I'm just like, why is this even a
And
drama? Like,
VTubers cause drama for everything.
I think because the community's grown so much, it's like everyone's just like just going, okay, there's more
Oh.
people to cause drama with. But
I know that like when I was first a creator, like it really is for clout a lot of the time. When you're a
oh
small
yeah,
creator and you're like, oh, if I say something bad about this big person, everyone's gonna retweet it and everyone's gonna follow me.
oh god, yeah. It's like
Yeah.
if it's like if there's actually a valid reason to say something bad, and it's like and needs to be addressed, sure. But if there's nothing there, and you're just making a baseless claim and trying to get clout for it, it's like what's the point? It's not going to help you. Like, but yeah. Let's see. Paz says, but if they want drama, I'm the guy my friends say stupid things all the time.
Usually it's the really small VTubers who are like very egotistic. They think they're all that when they're just like the smallest VTubers with hardly any following.
Oh yeah. Yeah. It's like a lot of my VTuber friends are small, but it's like a lot of them I think
I
at
mean,
least
I
know.
know a lot of small VTubers because like 90% of the community is small.
Yeah. And it's like I think that a lot of them sort of realize as well how egotistical some of these other VTubers are.
Yeah.
It's
I
like
mean, it's still a small amount of them that are like this, but they're usually the small people who are the most egotistic. Like they're usually
yeah,
people who like aren't even that great. I think
yeah.
I actually was like this in the past for like a little bit and realized it. Like when I first got into voice acting, I was super jealous of people more popular than me. So
Oh
it's kind
yeah.
of that.
Yeah, it's like there's that part of me that's always just like that I guess kind of goes, "Oh man, these people have numbers." But it's like it's
Yeah.
like but it's like people over time have
Yeah, a lot
grown
of them
and
this is annoying to me. A lot of people expect to be popular immediately and they like
yeah,
don't consider that other people actually work super hard to get there.
yeah, exactly. And it's like I've realized over time it's like I've got to try and be unique and be myself to grow, and it takes time. It's not like 5 minutes and you've
Mhm.
grown and you're there, you've made it. Like,
Yeah, even a lot of the people who like it looks like they've grown really fast, they've probably been doing stuff before that. Like,
yeah,
yeah.
exactly.
Like, I think Project Melody was doing something else before she became popular as
Hmm.
Project Melody, and then she got like the funds to become that.
Yeah, I still remember like the first time I heard about Project Melody, and it was probably a few weeks after her first stream on the other site, and I was like, "Oh wait, there's this animated character doing content on this other site," and I'm like, "That's interesting." And then
Yeah, wasn't she like a normal cam girl before, and then she decided to change things up?
I
At
don't
least that's
know,
from what I've heard.
I don't
I
know.
think, but she doesn't really like mention it.
Yeah, I never,
I
I'm
think
not sure.
because like she obviously had the funds to boost herself from something,
Yeah, so then
like
so
a
then
lot of
she
advertising.
yeah, like I think because she was like probably one of the first, if not the first, on the other site to start
And
doing that
she
sort of thing.
wasn't the first, but she was the first that got noticed.
Yeah.
Um, there there was yeah, I knew someone who did it before her, but they
Okay.
didn't get as much recognition because they didn't have as much advertisement or like the tech as good
Right.
technology.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, like having money also helps.
Yeah. In a
But
lot of
in order to get
scenarios, it
money, you
does.
need to make content.
Yeah. It's like
Like no one just gets money. I
yeah.
mean, unless you get it inherited or whatever.
Yeah. And it's like everyone sort of
I
like
mean, I guess
recognized Project Melody as like the first, probably because she was the first well known to
yeah,
do it.
because yeah, I'm sure there were a lot of people doing VR stuff, but she was the first one known.
Yeah. And then
Like
down the
I'm
line,
um, VR chat has been a thing for a while, so I'm sure there were
yeah.
a lot of people making all the VR stuff. It
Oh
was
yeah.
just the first who was one. Right?
Yeah. And it's like and then eventually like I guess I think I think Project Melody was like one that really I guess made VTubing super popular in the West compared to like Japan and stuff. But
Yeah.
but then everyone started getting on the bandwagon and going, okay, I want to be a VTuber, let's do it. And then yeah,
Mhm. The VTuber community in the West is very loud. More
Yeah,
so than the Hololive is like very safe for work more so. I haven't really watched most of it, but they're not like
yeah.
loud like what are they called? Shoujo.
VShojo, yeah.
Shoujo, yeah.
It's definitely
Yeah.
definitely
I
some
saw in
big differences.
the Shoujo application, it like the a requirement was to be listed.
That's funny.
Yeah, it literally said in there.
Yeah. It's like in the beginning, like when I first started watching VTubers, it seemed like there was a lot of mainly just like female VTubers, and then it's like
Yeah.
eventually guys came along into the VTuber scene more. But yeah, it's like I don't see as many guy VTubers, and
It's because of it's just how society is. We're like, I don't know. It's hard to explain.
yeah, but it's like I am starting to see a lot of male VTubers pop up now, and it's interesting because I've always considered it. I've always had this
The
part of me
same with
consider.
like how NSFW is more popular if you're female doing it because it's more accepted for guys to be into it, I guess.
Yeah, and
Or it was in the past at least. It's
yeah,
getting
at
more
least
popular for girls to do it.
yeah, and I think yeah, it's like the particular content is like it's like guys just seem to have more, I guess,
Mm.
openness to like looking at that
Yeah,
content. But
it's kind of society's fault, really.
yeah,
Because most girls actually are dirty minded. They're just
yeah,
like taught by society that they're not supposed to be that way.
yeah. It's like oh, you got to be prim and proper. It's like who cares? Who cares?
That's
It's
also like when I think about that, like people judge me for that. I'm like, I don't like how society views females. I should
yeah,
be
I
fighting
don't.
against that.
It's like everyone should be allowed to be
Like when
open
I get
and
worried about what people say, I'm like, wait, I don't like how people act that way.
yeah,
I actually want to fight against that and change people's thoughts.
yeah. And I think like a lot of people doing like NSFW content, I think can in a lot of ways prove that change as well and being more open
Yeah.
and that's a good thing in general. Like I think it's like people should just be open. Like if you like what you like, hey, you like what you like. It's
I mean, there are a ton of NSFW voice actors who are male, but they don't get nearly as much recognition because more guys are willing to do it.
yeah, it's yeah, it's different fields where there's like these different sort of
Yeah.
imbalances you could say, and it's like okay, well we need to try and bridge these gaps in whatever way we
This
can.
this is also, I think, what I was trying to say before, whereas like more girls are trying to do it because they're seeing that people are getting like, oh wait, if I do this, I'll get super popular, but then it's not working as well anymore because there's more people getting into it, and like a
Yeah,
lot of these like um uh, can I even say the name of the other site making NSFW
yeah,
content get hardly any recognition because they're not putting in the effort to compete with all these other people.
yeah, yeah. It's
They're just trying to copy because they see that other people are doing good.
yeah, like it's like there's people like from my high school days that are now doing like content where like NSFW content, and I'm like, and I never expected them to do it. I'm like, oh,
Yeah, I think
okay,
more people are starting to do it, but as more people are starting to do it, the harder it'll be to be good at it. Like
yeah,
to actually do well in it, you have to be like the top.
yeah, and it's
Like,
like you've got
I
to
think I had an advantage for doing it earlier than most people.
yeah, and it's like you've got to try and like stand out more to try and
Yeah.
it's like I find that as a really hard thing for me on Twitch. It's like I started doing Twitch in December 2020, and a lot of people had already started doing it. So I was kind of just like, okay, well, how do I be more unique on Twitch? Like, how do I make myself more different? Like, there's so many people doing the same thing already, but it's just something you learn
Mm,
over time, I think.
Um, thing I do well is I'm a voice impressionist. Not a lot of people can do it as well as me.
Yeah, yeah. It's it's like there's always something unique that you'll find.
But for voice acting thing more than streaming, but sometimes I show that off on stream as well.
Yeah, I was. It's like I remember I was watching a couple of your streams recently, and I was just seeing you do like these like voice acting these lines, and I was thinking like, holy shit, like you do these lines
Also
really good.
that makes me stand out from other voice actors is a lot of voice actors don't do voice impressions. Like they mostly
Yeah.
just do maybe like their normal voice or like maybe like a slightly higher, slightly lower. But there's a
Okay.
lot, not very many who like can do like all these different tones.
Hmm.
Like even like you see the professional voice actors, they just use the same voice over and over for their
Yeah.
characters.
Yeah. I've seen a lot of times like they don't really change their voice up much. They just keep the
Yeah.
same voice. But yeah. But it's like, is there any characters? Is there any characters like you really like voicing or like trying to
Pony
impersonate?
characters.
The pony
Pony
characters.
characters. That's how I started, especially Pinkie Pie, because she's way over the top.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool. Like a lot of
Also,
people.
I like doing a variety of voices. The
Hmm,
pony ones are the ones I'm best at because I've been doing them forever.
yeah. It's like I know a lot of people like me trying to do like a Shadow the Hedgehog voice impersonation for some reason. Like they
Also,
just
I can do apparently a really good lolly.
oh, okay. Yeah.
Like
That's
this? Yeah? Okay, it's hard on the spot. Think of a line.
yeah, like
Is my voice cute?
yeah, it's that's
Yeah, a
actually
lot.
that's
I
so
have a
good.
lot of clips in that voice that people are using in the video.
Yeah. Like that's like a really good like lolly sort of voice. It's like it's just the right sort of the
Yeah,
right
a lot
pitch.
of the times when I was like auditioning for stuff, I always did like the young character voice like on casting call club, so I got a lot of practice. Also,
Hmm.
yeah, you get more practice with doing different tones the more you try it. I've like when I was doing casting call club and auditioning for a bunch of stuff, I tried to like push myself to do like voices that I don't normally do to like
Right.
challenge my voice, and it improved my ability to do more voices and different types.
Yeah. It just like sort of opened up like your the flexibility of like your vocal range a bit and what you can try and do. And that's cool.
Yeah, I'm looking at the chat. More people are open to NSFW these days than in the past.
Yeah.
Um, People are changing the view.
Yeah.
That's why, as more people do it, it won't be as profitable for new people because there's more competition.
Yeah.
That
So
happens a lot with a lot of things. Like if someone does really good in something, everyone else tries to copy them, and then they don't do good because they're just
yeah.
copying.
Yeah, it's like you'll have one person that does this thing really, really good, and then another
Yeah.
person will come in and they might be just as good, even better. So like they'll go and do it as well. But then
Mhm.
everyone else that comes in, it's like flooding in waves.
VTuber community. VTuber community.
Yeah, yeah, VTuber community in
But I
general.
more do it because I find it fun, not because
Yeah,
I'm copying people.
yeah. It's like a lot of the times, like when I do content,
If you're
I do it for fun.
if you're specifically doing something in hopes to do good in it, you're probably not going to.
Yeah, just I think most people's advice would probably be just take your time and have fun with it, and then you'll find what you
Yeah.
want to do, and eventually you might see some results. Like you just gotta try. But Paz says she's very good with voices. From what I just heard, it that was good. Cool.
Also, people like when I do the mommy voice for some reason.
Oh, okay.
I'm like,
Yeah,
you
it's
want to be Mystic's good boy?
Yeah, that's a good voice as well. It's like the dynamics are just so different.
I I have a wide range. I can go high and I can go low, but
Yeah.
I can only go so low. Okay, this has happened before, whereas like I went like as low as I thought I could go for
Oh
like
God.
people trying to be voice low characters, and they're like, "Can you go lower?" I'm like,
Oh.
yeah, yeah, let's try to go lower."
Oh God. Yeah.
And that hurt my voice.
Oh yeah. It's like
Like I'm stretching my vocal cord.
yeah, it's like just got to get that low voice, and then it's like, oh God, okay, how low do you want?
Yeah, that's happened multiple times where like I don't know why people get me to do like super low voices. I'm not like naturally low voice. I'm a soprano,
Yeah,
but I try. If people want that, I'll try. I try whatever people ask.
yeah. So Paz says she definitely good. I done drama for a year or two, and she's good with it. I can see her go further with it and have more people watch her more. Okay, cool. Yeah, it's like there's always room to try new things, like
I
and
mean,
different projects.
well, I I'm actually trying to stream daily now. I
Okay.
kind of like I'm lazy. I'm lazy a lot. Like I have bad focus and don't do stuff all day, and then I get annoyed that I didn't do anything.
Same
Yeah.
here.
Um
Like
I also yeah, I get distracted by people talking on Discord. That's the problem.
it's
But then
like
people are like, if I respond quickly to them, they'll think that I'm not interested in them.
yeah, it's just like oh, okay,
I
here's
I'm really trying to like ignore DMs while I work, but I'm struggling.
yeah, it's like
Like just leave them for later.
yeah, it's like I always get frustrated where it's like when I'm on Twitter, like when I was working in my jobs, I was like just seeing my phone go off with Twitter notifications all the time. And I'm just going, oh, is this something important? Do I need to look at this? And then, like, I would just be like so frustrated because I haven't looked at them over the whole day.
Oh, I keep refreshing so much, like checking my notifications every few seconds.
And then, like, at the end of the day, I come back to it and I just go, oh God, how many messages are there? Like whether it's messages or whether it's just
My
notifications or what.
notifications is always like super high every few
Yeah.
minutes.
Yeah. And I just
I just
look
keep checking it over and over. It's getting
like
so bad that I'm missing notifications of fan art.
yeah. And I'm just like looking at like my phone here right now. I'm looking and I'm like 83 Twitter notifications. I'm like, what? What's going on? Like it's just crazy like the amount of notifications I get from Twitter because I follow so many people.
Yeah. Um, wait, you
Uh,
have notifications on for them?
like
Or I don't
I
know.
I just like my phone's on silent, but it's just like got all these
Oh,
notifications
I
here.
don't have I don't even have the sound, which I didn't hear when you called because my Discord is completely turned off. Um,
Yeah,
or
it's
it
like
might also be because I was on Do Not Disturb and maybe that makes me not hear it.
probably
I
true.
don't know.
So yeah, it's like I
Oh,
think that's the same for my Discord. Like when I get notifications, I'm just like when I'm on Do Not Disturb, it's like okay, I don't get notifications.
yeah. I usually turn off the noise, but sometimes I'm switching back and forth, and every time I switch accounts, the notification sounds turn back on. I
Oh
just keep
God.
having to turn it back up again.
Oh God. Yeah. It's crazy. It's just I look at my phone and I get so anxious at like 83 Twitter notifications. I'm just like, what are people doing? What am I missing out on? But yeah, it's and I always just get worried that there's like something I've been tagged in or something important. I'm just like, okay, what is this?
I'll be right back. I need to get more water and go to the washroom.
Oh, good.
I'm going to freeze if I leave now.
All right. Yeah, it's like we're gonna have frozen mystic.
Or I can make wait. I don't know if I can make it invisible when I'm on
I
virtual.
can I
I
can
don't know.
probably go the BRB yet.
Oh
So
well.
yeah, I'm gonna go on BRB. Go back. Alright, there we go, we're back. Um yeah, so let's see. Um I know I had like I actually did at one point make a notepad document just kind of going like if there was anything I wanted to talk about because
Mhm.
I was just like, oh wait, there might be something I might forget.
I'm shaking G Fuel.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I realized you might be wondering what that noise is.
No, I didn't wonder. Let's see. Um I mean maybe chat might have, but I don't. I'm just like I'm kind of I guess I'm probably just desensitized to a lot of things. I'm just like, okay, whatever. I cannot find this document, but oh well. Or maybe I can. Let's see. Is it going to pop up on screen or not? Doesn't really. Yeah, it does. Either way. I had like lots of different things I wanted to ask. So you guys on chat probably would have just seen that. Doesn't matter. But yeah, so I think a lot of these points I actually already talked about. Surprisingly, I'm actually surprised I didn't miss any of those. But I guess one thing I probably want to round off on would be, I guess, just like future plans and stuff. Is there anything that you're thinking of getting into that you
Uh,
haven't got into?
well, I'm um kind of more of the same. But better. Like I'm
Oh yeah,
getting a live 2D model soon. I'm also supposed to be getting a new 3D model.
cool.
And I want to do more cosplay stuff, and
Hmm.
yeah, I want to do cosplay streams,
Oh yeah,
and
that
I want
sounds
to
cool.
do more. I want to do more singing, like
Hmm.
actually recording singing covers, and
All
yeah,
right,
and
yeah,
YouTube.
that's cool. Yeah, I actually, when you were mentioning cosplay a little bit earlier, I was actually kind of thinking to ask, like, would you actually do a cosplay stream? But now you kind of just mentioned that,
Yes,
so yeah.
yeah. That was I was going to do a near stream in
Hmm.
uh to be cosplay because I've
Okay.
been playing that, and then I decided to get the cosplay outfit.
Hmm.
I also want to sing a song in cosplay, or I want to do
Nice.
singing in cosplay and stuff like that.
That sounds cool. Like, I'm actually thinking myself, like, if I like start going to cons and stuff, I might think about doing cosplay. I've never cosplayed any character, so maybe I might start trying to cosplay a bit because I've always felt really nervous cosplaying, but
Yeah.
I might do it.
Mm.
Yeah. Um, I guess.
I need to like and not look at like when I look at other people's photos, it makes me self-conscious because like some of them are really good.
Oh yeah, yeah. It's like I look at some people's cosplays and stuff on Twitter, and I just go, how do they do that? Like
Yeah.
how do they do that? How can what could I pull that off? No, I couldn't pull that off. But yeah, like
Yeah, because when I cosplay, it often doesn't look anything like they. It makes me feel self-conscious because they're like so good.
yeah. But yeah, I guess we'll sort of flip the table a little bit on this. Before we head off, I guess, is there anything you want to ask me? Is there anything you've always wanted, I guess, to know about me?
I don't know. You've been talking a lot about yourself already.
Yeah, I mean, it is kind of hard. It's like because I try and add
I
myself to
don't
the
know how to ask
conversation.
questions. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's like because every time I do a podcast sort of style video, or like stream or anything, I try and make it so that like I'm not just sitting in the back corner of the conversation, just letting only the
Yeah.
guests speak, because I feel like that
I
would mean I'm a
wanted
bad presenter.
to do interviews, but I suck at asking questions. That's my problem, and I'm shy.
Yeah, it's like because my friend also runs a podcast series on his own YouTube channel, and I've always been the co-host in every podcast. So I just sort of most of the time I'm kind of just sitting and just kind of going, okay, well, do I just add a question? What do I do? But then I sort of made my own podcast series, and I'm just like, okay, I've got to actually try and be the lead and kind of ask questions. And I think it's made
Yeah.
me better doing that. But I try and be involved in the conversation because otherwise it just feels weird just sitting out and not saying anything. But yeah, it's hard to come up with stuff. I guess trying to flip the tables and like ask the interviewer something. It's
Yeah.
but yeah. But I think that's probably where we could round off. I think we've got a good amount of time on this.
What?
So
I just fell.
it's like, okay. So I think that's probably where we'll round off. Also, I will add in the chat because I made this command. Um, so if you do !TCP for Team Cola Podcast, it will give you a bunch of a blurb about what the podcast series is, and also who's featured, and you can check Mystic out with the link there. So if you guys want to check out Mystic's content on Twitch, um, so yeah, I think that's probably about it for this podcast. But be sure if you guys want to check out Mystic on Twitter as well. Like she does a lot of very interesting content, and there's lots of variety. So you'll find a bunch of things as long as you're 18, probably in most cases. But yeah, so I think that's where we'll end off here. So thank you guys for tuning into today's podcast. I hope you guys have enjoyed this episode, and thank you, Mystic, for coming on. I'm really honored that you were able to come on. So yeah.
Yeah. Like, um, I don't remember how many people have interviewed me before. Like, one of them, they didn't even post the interview. They said they were editing it, but they never actually finished it.
It's like I try to make this like as fun but also as, I guess, somewhat professional as possible. Like I try and add a mixture of professional and not professional, and I just try and keep it as chill as possible as well, because I like these to be like a podcast but like more like a just chatting stream. And yeah, but I think I've got to know you quite well, and I think the chat's got to know you quite well. So yeah. So
Yeah.
hopefully everyone's enjoyed, and yeah. So hopefully in future maybe we might do more content in future. Who knows? It just depends
Yeah.
if people want to see that. So yeah. But either way, we'll end it here, and we'll see everyone later. So thanks for watching.